सुनो, अरे सुनिए।
आपने इष्ट बताना नमंती वाला नमंती फिर क्या वर्क्स के ऊपर है, ठीक है। नमंती अब नमंती कौन
Ashish sir has joined. Shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Sai sir, shall we start?
Good evening, dear participants. Our team session expert.
Yeah, we can start.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Okay. Good evening, our esteemed session expert, Mr.
Good evening to all of you.
Sai Krishna Vaddadi, Principal Scientist, CSIR CEERI, Jaipur Campus. I welcome you all on the 5th day of AICTE ATAL FDP on the topic Preserving Local Dialect Using Multi-layer Perceptron for Sustainable Development of Communities. We have 9 and 10 session today. I request Dr. Rituraj Chaudhary, Associate Professor and Faculty of Science and Humanities, Poornima University, Jaipur, to introduce and welcome our session expert. Ritu ma'am, please.
Thank you, Kriti ma'am. Good evening, dignitaries, organizers, esteemed literary scholars, and fellow participants. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 5th day of our technical session series. Over the past 4 days, we have had the privilege of engaging in some truly insightful and thought-provoking sessions, each one enriching our understanding with expert knowledge and practical applications. So today promises to be yet another enlightening session, adding to the wealth of knowledge we have gained so far. So we are honored to have with us Mr. Sai Krishna Vaddadi, a distinguished scientist at the Signal Analytics Group, CPS, CSIR, CEERI Pilani, Jaipur Center. Welcome, sir. His work in automation and monitoring systems across water, tea, and aquaculture sectors has made significant contributions to technology-driven societal applications. Mr. Vaddadi holds an MSc Tech in Engineering Physics, Instrumentation from NIT Warangal and has previously worked with Secure Meters Limited, Udaipur, where he played a key role in developing a natural gas test rig for testing gas meters for the European market. His expertise spans water quality measurements, modular automation, and tea process automation, with a strong research focus on embedded systems, signal processing, and machine learning techniques. With such a remarkable background, we are certain that today's session will be an engaging and insightful experience to all. Now, without further ado, I invite Mr. Sai Krishna Vaddadi to proceed further with the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rituraj, and thank you, Dr. Kriti Sharma ji. And also, I would like give thanks to Dr. Ashish. Let me share my slides. So, are the slides visible in presentation mode?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, visible.
Are the slides moving?
No, sir, not now.
Now?
No, sir. I think it is not in presentation mode, sir.
Okay.
Now the slides
Yes,
are
sir.
moving, sir.
It's moving now. It's moving.
Just a second. Now it's in full screen mode.
No, sir. No.
Just a second, maybe.
No, sir, make it full screen.
Just
Robin, sir, your hand is raised. You have any query to make?
let me do one. Now are the slides not the slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it
Full
is
in
not
full
full
screen.
screen.
Full screen.
It's
Yes,
the
sir,
slides
yes,
are
sir,
moving.
yes, sir, yes.
Yes,
So,
sir.
once again, thank you. Sorry for that.
Yes, I think.
Okay. So myself, Sai Krishna, I would be sharing about the multi-layer perceptron, not in the context of languages or any other thing, but in a scenario which is relevant to the area that I am working, or in my case, my organization is working. So I am from CSIR CEERI, working as scientist there. This is our campus at Pilani. First, I would like to give brief about 1-2 minutes about our organization. Then I would be going into my talk. So, what as our organization, our vision and mission is to become globally renowned destination for scientific knowledge, research excellence, and innovative technology in the domain of electronics and its allied sciences and engineering with high social and strategic impact. Because we are a government organization, our main focus is on the societal purposes, how much we giving to the society as well as the strategic sector. To support this vision, so we have our own mission guidelines. We would be nurturing and encouraging the young talent or the talent that are present in the organization and also anywhere across the country or the worldwide, and synergizing the individual brilliance with the other personnel so that the global objective is met. To solve the to solve the various issues in the various sectors, we would be continuously innovating and leading to the various technical domains in that aspect. So this is at Pilani. So we have one campus at Jaipur, which is in Malvi industrial area, we are having a little footprint in Jaipur. So here at this place, we have mainly 3 major focus areas. One is the facility creation, R&D activities. The other one is the industrial support. So if you see any facility creation, just I would like to brief on it. So if you see any industry, whether it is in a electronics, electrical domain, the backbone of the country depends on the measurement and the viability of the products that it is producing. In that aspect, we have a facility to test various grid-tied inverters, solar inverters, and also we have facility in the water and dairy instrumentation. Then we have a high-speed electronic assembly facility where we can produce mobile phones or smartphones of that category. Then in the terms of R&D activities, we have expertise as in the domain of food and dairy, environmental instrumentation, renewable energy and power systems, and the fourth aspect is skill development. For the support of the industry, we have the ready-to-use products which are already in the market. One is milk adulteration system, milk analyzers, water quality systems, and IoT-related solutions that we provide to various industry in various aspects. Okay. So why actually AI or MLP is required? So we primarily work in the domain of, everybody knows this is milk, right? So how AI, because we work in the domain of embedded systems, and AI is a significant part of our developed prototypes. So how, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how AI or the core of multi-layer perceptron is based on the philosophy of artificial intelligence. So how milk and AI will come into the picture. For that, I would like to share a small story of it. We all heard the story of Akbar and Birbal. So the solution that we provide through AI from our organization is very much relevant, very much story related of with respect of Akbar Birbal. Once a story of them is one day Akbar said that people will listen to my orders. So Birbal challenged him, saying that you gave an order like pour a 1 liter of milk in front of a big tumbler in front of the fort. We will see how many people will turn out and pour a milk. Everybody, he said that this will be done in total secrecy, so that we will see how people will listen to it or not. After when everybody when the night passed and everybody poured their milk in the big tumbler or the container. In the morning when Akbar and Birbal checked, it is full of water. Because nobody knows exactly what is. Everybody thought that we are only putting water, but everybody will put water, nobody puts milk. Similarly, in India, India is one of the largest producer of milk and the second largest consumer of milk. And this milk is collected in terms of very farmer oriented thing. There is no such large industry catering the needs of the dairy. That means any large private industry not produces milk. It just collects the milk from the farmer and package it and sell it. Like Saras does in Rajasthan primarily. Amul does in certain regions of the country, primarily from Gujarat. So whenever we collect it from the farmer and packaged it at the industry level, the milk can be contaminated. Sometimes it may be contaminated with the water. Sometimes you will see the milk contamination takes place in terms of chemicals or other purposes. Why they contaminate the milk sample is for their own financial gains. If you give a high fat sample, so if you go into the market and produce and try to buy a milk product of 6 fat or 8 fat, it charges more. They charges you more. When you compare to buy with a 3 or low fat samples, they charge very less. So to increase the fat of the milk sample, people used to adulterate the sample. So we developed few products which is to make sure that this is not a contaminated milk and a pure milk. Whenever you do any measurement, it consists of a AI-based technology. Yeah, this is the various products that are developed and it is already transferred into the market. Once two systems are basically detects adulteration, it uses AI technology. It simply it uses electrochemistry based signals and measures the signal level based upon the what are the various contaminants, like if the contaminants of urea, salt, detergent, boric acid, etc. The signal will change based upon the signature of the signal. The AI algorithms will come into the picture and it will say that whether it is a contaminated sample or a pure sample. So when in Indian scenario, the milk is collected in open environment, means there is a milk collection center in the center of this village or in a very populated place. So whenever you do a measurement, and you should be 100% accurate. It's not like that we are giving accuracy of 85% or 95% or 98%, because whenever you say that this milk sample is contaminated, we are announcing it in terms of publicly. So the accuracy of this instrument should be more than 100%, because we used AI models. So the accuracy should be 100%. We simply cannot say the model will be sometimes say accurately of 98%. It should be 100%, because it is directly involved with the reputation of the end user. And also it should be electronically measurement technique. Currently there are various chemical based solutions that are available, but they are not economically viable or they are very time consuming. The other aspect is that to increase. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So to increase the fat of the sample, they use these adulterants, whether it is urea, salt, detergent, boric acid, etc., to increase the fat sample. Similarly, this also we measure the fat accurately of 0 to 14%. The farmer who gives the milk with a high fat and high SNF will fetch more amount of money. Typically, this is also takes around 20 to 25 seconds, and it takes a very small sample of 20 to 25 ml, so that the user will not waste more and more sample. Because currently the milk is collected at a village level and it brings to the district level. From district level, it goes to the factory. So there is a 2-3 stages involved in a milk production cycle, and at each stage we need to know whether the milk is 100% pure. Even a 1 liter of a sample is contaminated, the entire you will see the milk vans that goes in the city in the morning or in the evening time. Entire 4,000 liters of milk gets spoiled and it will be wasted. So it will be lost to the producer as well as to the farmer. Farmer reputation will be damaged, as well as the producer who is buying the milk from the farmer. So this is an example that took from Luis Serrano. His lectures are available on YouTube. You can check it out. It's a simple example, like there is a chef who prepares food in terms of It's an American example, so I took it from him. It's an apple pie. It's a sweet dish. The other one is the burger. The third aspect is chicken. So whenever the weather changes, the mood of the person will change accordingly. So how can we build a model, a AI model on using these information and make the counter ready to fulfill the needs of that season, right? Suppose if we take the scenario of India, during winter season, there are particular type of sweets that are consumed more. During rainy season, the consumption will be a little bit different. And during the summer season or the other season, the consumption is different. Whenever a producer or whenever a hotelier would like to sell certain range of products, he should know this information prior. Simply, he cannot change his entire supply chain on day-to-day basis, because if you make a purchases or any decision over a long period of time, the business volume can be increased drastically, and he can get more and more revenue. So once during summer season, the chef will look to have a sweet dish like apple pie, and during the rainy season on any stormy media or any winter day, it move more towards the spicy food to taste the palate of the end consumer. So this is a typical AI model where the AI models can be implemented and the projections can be made accordingly. This can be, everybody can observe this type of phenomena on their smartphones. If anybody are registered any food chain like a Zomato or Swiggy, that recommendations will also take place based upon the weather or based upon the sports season, etc. If any sports season takes place, the entire offers that are available will change accordingly. Okay, this is a one such AI model where we can have where one such problem that where the AI model can be fit, and based on it, the entire supply chain can be adjusted accordingly. And one more thing, we can see that the offers can also be changed accordingly. If there is low demand for certain sort of products, from the AI model which is sitting on the cloud itself can derive such schemes and push down the notification and say that the end users that these schemes are available, you can make more purchases, etc. So now to see what is a network means, it's a simple imitation of the human capabilities. We are trying to implement the human capabilities in a machine. As humans, we are by born, we continuously gathering information and also judge various patterns, very high degree of accuracy. Like when we see a cycle or a bicycle or a car or a motorcycle, we can simply recognize this is such type of vehicle, because we are able to this is because due to the learning that we took learning that we gathered over a period of 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, and also we can distinguish various features of different cars or of a same category. In a same category, we can differentiate various features. For if you take the car, we can differentiate whether it is a sedan or hatchback or and so on and so forth, etc. When we see when we have to implement these type of features into a machine, we need to build artificial neural networks where the computation systems that we need to implement the human learning capabilities will have very complex architecture when we try to resembles the human nervous systems. Okay, since human receives the information in 5 senses since we born, not all but most of the human beings, but based upon this information we can distinguish various things. However, when we see the artificial neural networks, it can only learn whether it is a cat, a dog, or any other thing or a person based upon the learning that takes place, which is a multimodally. But in terms of artificial neural networks, there will be a very limited multimodal learning that took place in the last few years back, but it is continuously evolving it is moving from image based to the text based. If you train a deep learning model for a cat, how it looks like, we can train only by image. We can train with the image that shown to the cat and we say that this is a cat. But as a human, we try to learn the same thing in various ways. By seeing the cat, by hearing its voice, by seeing the movement of the cat, In image, we can see only the 2D, but when you see in the movement, it will be more than 2D, it's a 3D. And also various other things that it try to showcase. Like when you go nearer to the cat, it may bite, or in some cases, there are certain cats which are very cute. Okay, these are the various characteristics that that as a human beings we learn by seeing the cat. But however, when you see a deep learning model that sits in a computer, these information may not be available. Okay, it may be available in text format or image format, but other features may not be available. But currently there are certain models that are coming up where there are more than multi-modal sensors can be integrated and evolve at the real output. To sum it up, we can say that human brain is very efficient in learning multi-dimensional data that we can see and observe as a human being, while deep learning model is limited only on its input. Whatever we give it as input, it's only limited to it. It cannot learn on its own, but there are certain things that are available which are much more multimodal in nature. So how a human nervous system works? Human nervous system works on the nucleus, and its nucleus consists of the action that takes place here. Will go to the dendrite, and this dendrite is connected with other nervous system, and this information is passed from the top to bottom in nature. So human nervous system consists of billions of neurons. These neurons collectively process input information from sensory organs, process the information, and based upon the information, it tries to do what type of reaction it expects to do. In certain scenarios, we do certain things. In certain scenarios, based upon the information, we act accordingly. Are the slides moving? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
It's a difficult thing actually. So a typical neuron in the human nervous system has three main parts: dendrites, nucleus, and axons. The information is passed to a neuron, is received by whatever the information that is shared by the neuron goes to the dendrites. The entire nucleus is responsible for processing this information, and whatever the decision that is taking place at the neural level, it is passed through the axon, which is connected to the dendrites of the other neurons further down the network. That's how the entire movement takes place from the nucleus to the other aspects of the body. So if you see a perceptron is a simple binary classification algorithm. It is proposed by cornell scientist Frank Rosenwald. It helps to divide the signal, a set of input signals. The decision is whether yes or no. It gives the information in terms of yes or no, whether it is right or wrong method, true or false. But unlike many other classifications, the perceptron was modeled based upon after the essential unit of the human brain. We can say it is at the core of the human brain, and has the uncanny ability to learn and solve the complex problems. We can say that it is at the beginning of the entire artificial neural network sort of the thing, and based upon that, we can solve very complex problem and also have the ability to learn. So how does a perceptron works? Perceptron works based upon multi inputs that goes into the neuron, and the output will be in the form of true or false or 0 or 1. And in this case, each neuron will have its own weight. Each input will have its own weight, which is categorized as W1, W2, W3, W4, W5, and it will goes to the input, and this model will generate whatever it is trained for, and based upon that information, it will give the output as 0 or 1. It's a very simple learning machine. It can take in few inputs. As I said, each one will have a weight to signify how important it is, and it can generate based upon the entire input information of all the inputs along with their weights. It will give its decision as output as 0 or 1. When we combine with many other perceptron in the same feature, it will become an artificial neural network. When we combine multiple of such perceptrons, it will become an artificial neural network. So a neural network theoretically can solve any type of problems or things. However, it all depends on the what type of data that was given to it and what type of training method that was provided to it. And based upon that information, it can share the based upon that information, it can share just a second. Yeah, it can share the results accordingly. So this is a single layer perceptron where there is a single input and there is a one layer and there is an output. So the next comes is the multi-layer perceptron. Is a perceptron that teams up with an additional perceptron that I discussed earlier, stacked in several layers to solve the complex problems. Each perceptron in the so each perceptron, this one in the first layer on the left side, which is called as input layer, feeds the input to the second layer, which is called as hidden layer. Also, it is called as information to our output of the first layer will go to the second layer, which is called as hidden layer. And all perceptrons in the second layer sends the output to the final layer on the right, which we called as the output layer. This is how a multi-layer perceptron works. So there are three layers. We say one is the input layer, the second one is a hidden layer, and the third one is the output layer. Okay. So on each layer we can have n number of perceptron, and there can be multiple layers. So that's why it is called as a multi-layer perceptron. And as we increase the number of layers, the complexity of the entire system will increase accordingly. The more number of layers that we are adding, the more complex the system it becomes. The very sorry. So typically it is the multi-layer perceptron is more commonly known as a neural network. So the three-layer multi-layer perceptron, which is shown in the previous slide, is called as a non-deep or a shallow neural network. If it is having more than 3 layers, then it is called as a deep neural network, which currently we are seeing in various scenarios, like the model that is developed using a deep neural networks, and various features that are available in the scenario is in that way. One key difference between a multi-layer perceptron and a neural network is that in classical perceptron, the decision is a step function and the output is a binary nature, whether it falls in this category or not. If you train for cats or dogs, whether it will become a cats or dogs, etc. Or if you train for the language, it will say what type of language it will fall, whether it is in that category or not. In neural networks, which is evolved from the MLPs, other activation functions can be used, which results in the outputs or real values, usually between 0 and 1 or between -1 and 1. We can say in terms of real values, whether the thing may happen or not. It's not simply binary. It can be given any value.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I think Dipti ma'am has some question. Dipti ma'am, do you want to ask some question? Dipti Lodwal ma'am. I think, sir, no question.
Okay, Notion. Thank you, Notion. So this because it is giving a more result in terms of real values, there will be many more predictions or classification items into the multi-labels can be done. So similarly, we can see the real world example in this case is the traffic information that we receive using a Google Maps. Here I am not sharing any particular domain or any particular company information. So when we leave from the house, when we check a route, it will tentatively predict what type of the time that we may arrive at, whether in terms of minutes or hours. It will give within a certain probability. It will not say exactly within this time you will be reaching, but it will be certain probability. It will predict that this is the amount of time that it will take to reach the destination. These are the probability based predictions. So if you see the structure of it, as I said, there are multiple layers. There will be inputs and also the inputs consists of a n number of inputs based upon the what are the inputs that we are feeding into the system, and there will be a constant which is called as bias. Each system, any system will inherently will have a bias, and it will have a constant of unity. The perceptron takes real values as its inputs. If the perceptron is tasked with classifying the flowers, if a model or if a perceptron wants to classify different types of models, whether it is jasmine or marigold, it will try to predict, try to measure what is the length and the width of the flower petals, and based upon that, it will predict what type of flower it is. So as an input, what the information that will goes, it will try to goes the length and the width of the flower petals. Then each input will have certain weight and biases. So the weights and biases are represented, and it's having a very relative importance of each weight. Each input will have certain weights. The parameter which is having more weight will have more influence on the output, and it's not necessarily that all inputs should have the same weightage. Certain inputs will have a higher weightage, certain aspects will have lower weightage. And there is a bias, as I mentioned earlier, for an input, which is having a unity constant as its weight, and it will be inherent to each and every model or a system that is developed using these type of methods. So in this case, the unity bias will be referred as B, and the unity weight as a 1. So for inputs x1, x2, xn, the weights will be w1, w2, wn. It can vary from any real numbers. Then all these inputs are multiplied by the weights and summed up to create one aggregate value, which is fed into the activation function. This is the activation function. In this case, for simplicity, I took the activation function as a step function. Then the activation function generates a classification decision. For example, the flower is called as a setoso or a versicolor. Means it is the two flowers that we are taking here as inputs, and this activation function will decide what type of iris the flowers are, whether it is a setosa or a versicolor. Okay. So if you see the structure of perceptron, there are basically multiple layers are present. One is the input layer, the other one is the hidden layers. Hidden layer consists of the weights. Then there is the summation layer. The next layer will be the activation function, and the final one is the output. The intermediary between the input and the output are the various layers that are present in this perceptron model. Okay. So next slide. So perceptron learning processes, we take the inputs. Just a second. Yeah. We takes the inputs and multiplies them by their weights and compute their summation. Based upon the information, we take the bias and we add it and multiply it by its weight. For bias, it should be 1. And it will be given to the activation function, and the result will be declared as a perceptron. Based upon the result, we can give the feedback, and the weights are adjusted accordingly so that the model can be improved further. From a classical perceptron to multi-layer perceptrons, neural networks are essentially the same thing. We need to add few more integrants, because right now we studied about the perceptron. Now if we want to have a multi-layer perceptron, becomes a fully neural networks. These are the various things that needs to be added. One is the back propagation, the other one is the hyperparameters, the third one is the advanced structures. Okay. Whatever the back propagation algorithms, what it does is it allows the algorithms to perform a backward pass, which helps to tune the weights of the inputs, and based upon the weights of the inputs, the output is optimized, whatever the information that needs to be, a decision that needs to be taken. So how the back propagation performs, it based upon the iterative backward passes, which attempts to minimize the loss or the difference between the what is the actual value and what is the predicted value. Based upon the difference that it is generating, it will fine tune the weights, and the fine tuning of weights will takes in the backward motion. That's why it is called as the back propagation algorithm. With each backward pass, whenever we make a one pass backwards, the weights move such that the value of error is reduced, or the optimum value of weights are achieved, so that the function will generate very low error, and the prediction is more accurate. It is one of the basic algorithms which is used to train neural networks. When a neural network is initialized, weights are set for its individual elements called as neurons. They are passed through the network of neurons, and the neurons provides an output for each one given the initial weights. If we see for initial weights of whatever the W01, W1, W2, Wn, the output will give certain output, and based upon that we will calculate the error, what is the actual error, and based upon this error we again compute the values of W1, W2, W3 and so on and so forth to newer values, and these newer values will update it. Again the calculation will be taking place at the summation, and it will again give the, and this will be fed to the step function, and the step function will come up with a new output, and we will compare with the new output with our desired output. Based upon the desired output, if the error is less or more, again we will fine tune this information accordingly. Okay, this is how it will work. This I1, I2, In up to 1 is the bias, and this I1, I2 are the two various inputs, and the output what taking place will move to the forward channel, and based upon that the weights of the corresponding input will be adjusted. So this is the thing of back propagation algorithm, where the weights is adjusted such that we will be going closer to our desired output. If you see the advantages of this type of system is, it is efficient learning. It is depends on the weights we will be using, but will be scalable. We can automate this entire process with very because it is efficient method. We can automate this algorithm, and also we can use it generalizedly and widely supported. However, the disadvantage is, it is as the number of inputs will increase, the complexity of the structure will also change. If you see in the modern neural network aspects, if you see the same scenario in the modern neural network aspects, the multi-layer structure will increase as the number of layers and then initial weights and the activity function and the learning process will also change. We need to tune the performance of the neural networks accordingly to fulfill the needs of the output. So what are the different types of back propagation? Here I am giving just the names and nomenclatures: static back propagation and the recurrent back propagation. So if one of the few examples is of a back propagation is a XOR problem. If we are aware with an XOR gates, a 2-input XOR gate will take 2 inputs and it will have only one output. The output will always be high whenever there is a difference in the input. That is, if the input is the same, here if you see the input is 0 and 0, the output is 0. If the input is different, one input is 0 and the other input is 1, the output will always be high, vice versa. If again the 2 inputs are 1, the output will become 0. So if we give this to a algorithm, so there are hidden layers. Hidden layers are multiplied by weights, and the sum is passed through an activation function. For this XOR problem solvation, that popular algorithm's activation function is sigmoid or a ReLU in the hidden layer to introduce non-linearity. The output layer where the final values are given, final values from the hidden layer are again multiplied by weights and passed through the activation function to produce an output. If you as I mentioned in the earlier slides, the popular Python codes are available to solve this problem. If you are familiar with the Python code and the CS or any other thing, this type of XOR problem can be tried out on your laptop or a computer. So the error calculation will take place. These are the various layers that are used. One is the hidden layer, the final layer is the output layer where the output will be visible. Then there are the error calculation. The error will be calculated based upon the predicted value. If my both inputs are different, I predict the output should be high. That means true in nature. So the error will be calculated based upon the actual value minus the predicted value. Similarly, the gradient calculation means how much the gradient would be passed to adjust the weights. So it is called as gradient. The error is propagated backwards through the network, and the gradient of error with respect to each weight is computed. The weights are updated based upon the gradients to reduce the error for the next iteration. As we move along, the number of iterations are increasing. We try to reduce the error in the iteration. So if we see what are the real world applications that are very much used in the real world scenario, currently, as I said, image classification and speech recognition is one such thing. But the AI is currently very rapidly evolving. There are certain other things. Previously or 4 or 5 years back, the AI models are used either only based image based or video based or a text based. Both these models are working separately. But currently, if you see the newer AI models that are coming up in the consumer domain, they are much more complex in nature. They are not only seeing the images of a particular, if you throw a problem to AI to find out a good restaurant in the region of so in the region, whether it is Jagatpura or Malvinagar, whatever it is, it's try to find a good restaurant by searching both the images as well as the text and try to come up with a much more suitable information to the end user. This is one real world example that you can see in the day-to-day advertisement that you come across in various sectors. So as I said, the many neural networks are complex structures and they're built on multi-layer perceptrons, where there are more number of layers that are present between the input and the output. For example, a recurrent neural network uses two neural networks in parallel. One uses to train the data from beginning to end. The other one uses from the end to the beginning, which helps to use the language processing. Similarly, a convolutional neural network uses a three-dimensional multi-layer perceptron that learn the same data information. If you fed the same data information, three perceptrons will learn simultaneously, and based upon that, the model will be generated. As I mentioned earlier, image classification uses convolutional layers to classify various types of images like dogs or cats. It's a very preliminary type of AI models. Right now, we are having many more complex MLPs are available, and the examples are available in the real world scenario. The second one is the speech recognition, where recurrent neural networks are used to recognize various speech recognition tasks. So if you see the example, to sum up, actually, if you see any AI models, it's most depend on the consumer driven or the industry oriented driven. Like whatever the challenges that come up in the industries or in the consumer domain, it mostly try to solve with the AI. So if you see the restaurant, if we feed the information like the down the line, 5 days or 7 days down the line, the weather will be sunny or rainy or windy. Based upon that, the restaurant will be ready with a certain type of dishes accordingly on the counter to cater the needs of the public that are using those facilities. Here we are giving each input. Here the inputs are the sunny 1 or 0, or the weather condition 0 and 1. It's different in the terms of matrix, and the output it is given as 100 or 010 or 001. So here if we give the information of weather, it is in terms of 01. We expect the model will give the correspondingly 010 as its output. Means this sort of demand will come during this period. Like if we see during any festive season or any occasion like during New Year or a Holi or a Diwali, everybody knows the demand will increase for the sweets or crackers or clothes, etc., garments, etc. So those things are well known. Whenever there is a issue comes with in terms of weather we cannot predict accurately. We can predict up to certain extent, but we cannot plan immediately if there are scenarios that is coming up. So these things can be solved using AI. These type of unpredictable problems that arise can be solved using AI. So here we are giving at the input two scenarios: sunny day or a rainy day, and we are trying to give this information with the whatever the inputs that we are having, 1001 or 01. So it should be a 3 by 3 matrix, because here I'm showing two outputs only. That's why I took two outputs, 100 as 010, and we are multiplying the same thing with output, and we try to evolve this output as whether it is 010 or 100. So based upon this information, we can try to predict whatever the output, what should be the output. So if we again plot it in terms of the layers, this is how it looks like. Okay. So yeah, thank you. That's it from my side. If you have, just a second. If you have any queries or any other thing,
Participants, any query from your end?
So actually, my domain is not from the theoretical aspects. We work mostly on the problems that arise from the society. So if you would like to have any real world scenarios in the domain of how AI and other things are helping in the domain of food and dairy, there's certainly.
Sir, one question from Raghavendra Sharma ji. Sir, how to implement uh, it practically? Kindly suggest.
So practical information is my suggestion is there are certain models that are data is already present for certain scenarios. Okay, if you want to if you want to classify a simple example of if you are using a smartphone or a smartwatch, it can easily classify your walking stage or your running stage. So the authentic data you need to collect for AI implementation, and try to implement those models using Python or other programming languages, and and try to arrive the existing output with the same model that is available. Once you get that information, you will build the confidence. Use a Python model and the known sources of data. That is very much the way forward for the beginners.
Sir, he is further asking, sir, kindly suggest the books or learning resources.
Books, I don't know. I am not aware of books, but actually, what I suggest is in my slide I took an example from the person. Uh, so Luis Serrano, you can start beginning from him. Okay, his video lectures are there on YouTube. Most of my
Sir,
content.
maybe write its name in the chat box.
So I will share this presentation with you, Dr. Ashish.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You can share the name.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So the thing is everything is data driven. Whatever the authentic information that you are having with you, the model will be much robust in various aspects. Okay, if new information comes, it can withstand the model can withstand that new information the model can classify that information accordingly. So try to take the data from known sources, and try to, for the beginners, try to already implemented model, try to implement the same thing. You may change the code accordingly, and try to arrive the same output that was already published. So once you get the confidence of implementing models by yourself, then you take the newer information accordingly from various other sources, or you can acquire data from yourself.
Sama ma'am, you want to ask something?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's Luis Serrano.
Sai Krishna sir. Sai Krishna sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशन था सर, और हमें पता चल रहा था कि एआई आगे कितना चेंज ला सकता है। तो आपके रियल एग्जाम्पल से बहुत कुछ पता चला। मैं ये जानना
you.
चाह रही हूँ कि मैंने रिसेंटली एक वीडियो देखा जिसमें मुझे ये पता चल रहा है कि मैं सिर्फ वॉशिंग मशीन तक या फिर टेम्परेचर वेदर फोरकास्टिंग तक ही सीमित रहती थी, लिमिटेड थी। बट अभी मैंने रिसेंटली एक वीडियो देखा कि उसमें कुकिंग भी एआई बेस्ड हो रही है सारी। तो मैं आपसे ये जानना चाह रही हूँ कि ये सिर्फ एक फन वीडियो था या नियर फ्यूचर में वाकई में ऐसा कुछ हो जाएगा?
मैम वो वीडियो मैंने देखा नहीं, सॉरी फॉर माय पार्ट, बट ऐसा कुछ नहीं होगा। जनरली जैसे अभी तक ये में मल्टी लेवल मल्टी मॉडल लेवल लर्निंग अभी तक इतना फ्लुएंट नहीं हुआ जितना ह्यूमन बींग्स जैसे हम आम आदमी को जैसे हम देख सकते हैं, सुन सकते हैं, फिर उसके साथ लर्न भी करते हैं जैसे हम। तो ये उस स्टेज में नहीं है, मतलब आपको एक बढ़िया चलाने वाला ये कार मिल सकता है, ठीक है, वही कार आपको खाना नहीं बना सकता है, ठीक है, इन दोनों में अंतर है। बट आदमी अच्छा खाना भी बना सकता है, अच्छा गाड़ी भी चला सकता है और भी काम कर सकते हैं, तो उसमें दिक्कत नहीं होगा। एआई को यूज करके हम अपना को कार्य करने का तरीका बदल सकता है। जैसे आप टीचर है, पढ़ाते हैं, तो आप इंफॉर्मेशन और अच्छे तरीके से स्टूडेंट्स तक पहुंचाते हैं एआई के माध्यम से, ना कि एआई इस पे इफेक्ट नहीं करेगी। ये थोड़ा सा अंतर है मैम। हाँ, जो ट्रेडिशनल जॉब्स जो होते हैं, कुछ चीजें हैं वो खत्म हो जाएंगे, दूसरे तरीके से बनेंगे, समझ रहे हैं? बट इससे कुछ ऐसा मेरे हिसाब से ये मैम कोशिश मिला, मैंने जो जवाब दिया वो।
नहीं, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू
मैम।
So we are talking about data also, but sometimes data collection is also a problematic issue.
हाँ, डेटा वो तो सही है, आपने सही बोला है, डेटा भी बहुत प्रॉब्लमेटिक होता है। दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेड कि नॉन सोर्सेस हैं जो रेप्यूटेड यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, रेप्यूटेड कॉलेजेस हैं, वो लोग ऑलरेडी इस तरीके से डेटा जनरेट करते हैं, डेटा सेट्स बनाते हैं। मुझे अभी एग्जैक्टली याद नहीं आ रहा कि नॉन सोर्सेस में, बट ये जिस फील्ड में आप प्रयास करेंगे, जिस फील्ड में यू इंक्वायर, उस फील्ड का टॉप यूनिवर्सिटीज में जाएंगे तो वहां पे भी आपको एआई बेस्ड डेटा मिल सकता है। बट आपको थोड़ा सा प्रयास करना पड़ेगा कि एग्जैक्टली किस डोमेन में आप जाना चाहते हैं और कहाँ पे इसका रिसर्च हो रहा है। तो उनके पास ऑलरेडी एस्टेब्लिश्ड मॉडल्स है। जैसे मैं कहता हूँ कि जैसे हम चलते हैं तो अपना स्मार्टफोन पता चल सकता है कि वो अपन चल रहे हैं, गाड़ी में है, टू व्हीलर में है, फोर व्हीलर में है, या दौड़ रहे हैं। ये सारे जो एक्टिविटीज है इतना शार्पली डिफरेंशिएट कर पा रहे हैं क्योंकि इसके जो डेटा जनरेशन हुआ है, जिसमें भी ये मॉडल्स डेवलप किया गया है, पिछले 10-15 साल पहले ये काम हो चुका है, ठीक है। बर्कली यूनिवर्सिटी के डेटाबेस सेट्स मिलते हैं। तो इस तरीके से आपको जिस फील्ड में आप करना चाहते हैं, ह्यूमन इंडियंस को इमेज प्रोसेसिंग यूज करके बाइफरकेट करना चाहते हैं, क्लासिफाई करना चाहते हैं कि
yes, like we are now in this FDP we are focusing on preservation of dialects.
हाँ, तो उसमें एक्चुअली आपको थोड़ा सा दिक्कत आएगी क्योंकि ये बहुत ही रीजन स्पेसिफिक और इंडियन स्पेसिफिक है, ठीक है। ये बहुत ही लिमिटेड सेक्टर है। जैसे मैं आंध्रा से बिलोंग करता हूँ, तो आंध्रा में जो लैंग्वेज बोला जाता है, डायलेक्ट बोला जाता है, वहां पे वो बहुत ही कम सेट के पास होता है। तो इसके लिए खुद को जो कर रहे हैं तो उन्हीं को जाके प्रयास करना पड़ेगा, डेटा उन्हीं को लेके आना पड़ेगा। वो थोड़ा सा दिक्कत वाली बात है। बट जो जेनरिक होते हैं, ड्राइविंग का रिलेटेड हो, कुछ और एस्पेक्ट्स में है, उसमें डेटा ऑथेंटिक सोर्सेस मिलना थोड़ा आसान होता है।
Yes, sir. And sir, like as we are talking about multi-layer perceptron, so means would it be would single-layer perceptron still have some significance in the presence of multi-layer perceptron? Means are there some applications where single-layer perceptron are
नहीं सिंगल लेयर परसेप्ट्रॉन इवन मल्टी लेयर परसेप्ट्रॉन में भी डायरेक्ट सॉल्यूशन अभी किसी का भी नहीं होगा. ये जस्ट की अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए भाई काम कैसे करता है, ठीक है, टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मैं इनपुट में क्या देता हूँ और मल्टी लेयर में कैसे बिहेव करेगा, सिंगल लेयर में कैसे बिहेव करने, उसी के लिए. बट अभी भी इसमें भी कोई सॉल्यूशंस नहीं होंगे, इससे भी और बेटर एल्गोरिथम्स अवेलेबल है. देयर आर मच मोर एफिशिएंट एल्गोरिथम्स आर अवेलेबल व्हिच कैन इजीली churn large amounts of data, ठीक है, जो डीप न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स में जाते हैं. तो ये जस्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग के पर्पस के हिसाब से बताया गया था, क्योंकि आई एम नॉट अवेयर कि किस टाइप की ऑडियंस है, तो सॉरी फ्रॉम माय पार्ट.
sir, like in this program,
या प्लीज.
in this program, sir, there are faculty members from various domains, humanities.
हाँ, इसीलिए थोड़ा जेनरिक रखा है, तो इन केस बट अभी भी ऐसा कोई सोल्यूशन उसमें इंप्लीमेंट करने का नहीं. बट जिसको सोल्यूशन ए में काम करना है अगले 15-20 साल, इफ यू डाउन द लाइन, या उसी में पढ़ाना है, तो दीज टू आर द बेसिक बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स. यू नीड टू नो हाउ इट वर्क, बिकॉज द मोर यू गो फॉरवर्ड, द कॉम्प्लेक्स इट विल बी टू इम्प्लीमेंट एंड टू अंडरस्टैंड. So these two will act as a just enablers to understand and provide a solution.
So like we are discussing that means there may be some higher applications. These are just single layer, multi-layer. These are just for understanding generic.
Yes.
So like if we specifically talk about the dialects, so could you suggest or name some one or two such applications or tools?
So actually, I'm not aware in that domain. Means sorry, I'm not in that domain. If I will inquire,
Understand, sir. Understand.
I will certainly drop a message to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sir, we talk about the sustainability also. So means how the AI is relevant in terms of sustainability. Could you share your views on this?
Yeah. So sustainability is a key aspect. Okay. So it will be a key aspect, and AI will enable it. Actually, AI will make things much more faster. If it will give the feedback very efficiently. Okay, if you want to know how much, suppose if you sustainability will be in many aspects, like whether we are using our resources efficiently or not, whether they are sustainable in nature or not. Okay, what
Yes,
is
sir, like optimizing them.
Yeah. So where I am making more losses. Okay. Where I can improve my efficiency of my resources. So AI can predict how much we are generating, how much we can extract it, and how much is my demand and how much is my supply. Suppose if we take the scenario of electricity, okay,
Yes, sir.
electricity requirement is not at all same across the year. Okay, throughout the year it will change. In summer it will be higher, in winter it will be lower, in rainy season. So AI will make because the network that supplies the electricity should be robust to cater the needs of all these seasons. Like ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे विंटर में डिमांड है तो मैं 2 न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट है जो भी 2 प्लांट बंद कर सकता हूँ, ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं, राइट? दे शुड बी ऑपरेटेड एंड यूज्ड ऑप्टिमली टू कैटर द नीड्स अक्रॉस ऑल 3 सीजन्स. इसमें जो मॉडल्स जो जनरेट कर सकते हैं, जिसको अपन समझ सकते हैं कि मेरा डिमांड कितना आ रहा है, मैं प्रोड्यूस कितना कर रहा हूँ, मेरा इनपुट रॉ मटेरियल कितना आएगा, मैं कितना एफिशिएंटली कर सकता हूँ, मैं दैट आई कैन प्लान दीस थिंग्स,
दैट कंप्यूटेशन कैन बी नोन,
दैट प्रेडिक्शंस कैन बी डन. एंड आल्सो फिर ग्लोबल वार्मिंग रिलेटेड जो चैलेंजेस रहेंगे, दैट कैन आल्सो बी. सो हियर वी कैन मैप द टेम्परेचर और व्हाटएवर द इंफॉर्मेशन accordingly based upon the needs.
Yes, sir. Recently we were also discussing that AI would not reduce the jobs, but it would create jobs in some other ways.
Yes, that's perfect.
So,
that is.
But mostly it is said that AI like we means embrace the AI, but sometimes it is said that with the advancements in the AI, employability gets affected. So
No.
could you elaborate, sir?
Pardon. Just last 2 sentences.
Yes, sir. Like sometimes it is AI is praised for its various advantages, features, and
Yes.
computation, but simultaneously it is also common practice to convey that with the advancements in the AI, jobs means these advancements affect the employability.
So it will not be like that. मैं ये कहता हूँ कि जैसे दुनिया में जो मतलब जो तरक्की होगी, जो न्यूअर चैलेंजेस, न्यूअर जॉब्स विल क्रिएट होते हैं, वो वेदर इट इज एआई, वेदर इट इज ऑटोमेशन। इससे पहले एआई से पहले ऑटोमेशन के ऊपर होता था। एक जमाना ऐसा था कि जब कंप्यूटर्स बैंक्स में लागू करने की प्रक्रिया शुरू हुई थी, जो जिन्होंने 60s-70s में जिनकी डेट ऑफ बर्थ है, जब वो 90s में जब जॉब की चल रहे थे, तो समय ऑटोमेशन एक बहुत वेरी लार्ज स्केल में इंप्लीमेंट किया गया था। बिकॉज इट इज मैं इस एग्जांपल इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि ये हुआ है, ठीक है। इसमें बैंकर्स, रेलवे एम्प्लॉइज, उन्होंने अपने इंडिया के सिनेरियो में हड़ताल भी किया था, स्ट्राइक, दे अनाउंस्ड अ स्ट्राइक आल्सो, दे सेइंग दैट कि these computers will,
our jobs will get affected,
and we will be redundant sort of thing. But जब 90s से देखे अभी 2024 की बात करें, we are in very 2025 की बात करें, जिस बैंकिंग सेक्टर और रेलवे सेक्टर और ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सेक्टर्स, अब यू कैनॉट इवन इमेजिन, कभी सोच भी नहीं सकते थे अपन टेलीफोन के थ्रू वीडियो कॉलिंग कर सकते थे 90s में।
now we are going towards industry 5 even.
So जब उस समय के सिमिलरली अभी भी अपन उसी स्थिति में है, बट अभी सिनेरियो चेंज हो गया, ऑटोमेशन की जगह एआई आ गया है। So so technology will never kill it will never kill means humanity directly, okay, if it takes it in the right way, okay.
Yes, sir.
But these challenges will also be there, these misconception, I will say misconceptions कि टेक्नोलॉजी आने से जॉब्स निकल जाएंगे, जॉब्स की डिमांड नहीं, या डिमांड विल बी इन अदर वे, ठीक है।
Yes, sir.
तो कुछ चीजें
it would require skill enhancement in the skills, sir.
It certainly requires enhancement in the skill. Actually वैसा देखा जाएगा तो फिर अपना forefathers used to walk from one city to one village to another village. Our fathers used to use bicycle.
Yes.
Our parents used to use bicycle or motorcycle. Now we are using four-wheelers. We don't know in the next generation it will be a drones or other things. Maybe our down the line.
Already bullets are there, flights are there, bullet trains are there.
Individual flights भी आ सकते हैं। तो ये सब तभी आ पाएंगे, ये सब तभी आ पाएंगे जब ये टेक्नोलॉजी इंटरवेंशंस होंगे वेरियस एस्पेक्ट्स में। कुछ टेक्नोलॉजीज रैपिडली ग्रो करेंगे, कुछ स्लोली ग्रो करेंगे, कुछ इमीडिएट इम्पैक्ट होंगे, कुछ डाउन द लाइन स्लोली होगा, इस तरीके से।
Yes, sir. Even sir, not only AI but IoT is also gets progressing.
Yes. जिससे आप घर से निकलते हैं आपको बता देता है सुबह मैसेज, इवन इफ गूगल मैप्स में डाला है कि नहीं डाला, बता देता है कि आप 15 मिनट लगेंगे ऑफिस जाने में, या 5 मिनट लगेंगे, आधा घंटा, या रोड ब्लॉकेज आ गया, इवन इफ यू आर नॉट ट्राइंग, बिकॉज इसमें आप गूगल में जस्ट एग्जांपल बता रहा हूँ गूगल का, इनकेस आप उसमें नोटिफिकेशंस एनेबल करते हैं कि ट्रैफिक अपडेट चाहिए, जस्ट इट विल ऑटोमेटिकली अपडेट यू कि 5:30 बजते ही बोलेगा कि ऑफिस से घर जाने में 20 मिनट, मतलब एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम बताएगा, एंड आल्सो इट विल से द कंजेशन।
Yes, sir.
इस रोड पे
which path we may choose.
सो ये सब इंफॉर्मेशन सॉर्ट ऑफ IoT AI सब मिक्स में चलते हैं।
Yes.
अभी तो एक एग्जांपल शेयर करना चाहता हूँ, जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी मीटर में जो बिलिंग होता है,
Yes, sir.
तो अभी तक तो इंडिया में तो अभी भी मैनुअल टाइप सॉर्ट ऑफ होता है, बट यूके में जो बिलिंग होता है वो यूके यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में, डेवलपर कंट्रीज में, वो बिलिंग आवर बेस्ड होते हैं, मतलब अपने सुबह के टाइम में यूज किया तो चार्जेस ज्यादा होंगे कम होंगे, रात के टाइम में तो ज्यादा। ये सब तभी फीसिबल होता है कि आपके पास हर घंटे का डेटा आपके उस पे हो, जो मेन सर्वर पे, वो हर घंटे डेटा तभी जब पॉसिबल होता है कि जब आपने IoT रिलेटेड कोई डिवाइस उस मीटर के साथ लगाया हो। तो इस तरीके से रैपिड इन्वॉल्वमेंट, मतलब रैपिड ग्रोथ मिलेगा। सिमिलरली जैसे आप ओला बुक करते हो पीक टाइम में तो चार्जेस आर वेरी वेरी हाई, ओके, डिमांड कम है तो उस समय चार्जेस कम है। सेम मेथोडोलॉजी ऑलरेडी इम्प्लीमेंटेड है इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, घर की इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जो बिलिंग, अपना तो यूनिफॉर्म होता है इंडिया में, ये चालू नहीं हुआ बट फ्यूचर में होगा। तो वो सब पॉसिबल है IoT बेस्ड। आपने कितनी डिमांड के टाइम में ज्यादा यूज किया तो आपको ज्यादा बिलिंग होगा, डिमांड नहीं तब ज्यादा यूज करो तो आपको कम बिलिंग होगा।
Anybody else wants to ask any other question? Sir, in the CEERI, there are some various.
Hello.
Yes, Anubhav sir. Yes, Anubhav sir.
Sir, have you ever seen the case of human chatbot creation? Have you ever worked on?
No.
Like there are so many means chatbot creation by human.
Actually, I'm not aware of it. Because I don't work in
Okay,
the
okay,
exact software domain. My domain is in
okay,
the
okay, okay,
electronics and the AI, embedded systems.
okay, okay,
So
okay, sir.
chatbots are available, but the chatbots is you will give a fixed information.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain means it is already It's not that AI is not that much. Because I interact with the chatbots that are available on web page. If you try to buy
Yeah.
any new on any, so there that is in the very predominant stage. But that other technologies which are using AI in other sectors are very evolved technologies. That's what I want to say.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So one more question that
Yeah.
as now we are talking about Industry 5.0, so what major changes do you observe or do you seek that AI would bring in the Industry 5.0 as compared to the Industry 4.0?
So in the Industry 4.0, it is more about the industry automation in the internet's domain. In 5.0, I'm not sure exactly how it will pan out, but where we expect is the resource management will be much more efficient, in my opinion. Okay, the other things will be the other aspects like digital twin or some sort of things will come. Okay, remote management of devices, etc., will take place. So these things will very much come in the industry 5.0. But I'm not sure exactly how it will pan out. But in 4.0, it is more about connected resources, connected sensors, and connected systems. Everything is connected. But in 5.0, it will be more about more efficient way of churning things out. Okay.
Yes, sir. Means IoT might have very significant role.
It will be it will be there. IoT will be acts as a backbone sort of thing, but it will go still a little bit backwards. The other models will come into much more. AI related models will come into picture much more
Yes,
predominantly. Right now, it is about this framework that about the sensors that communicate between them. Okay.
yes, sir. And could you details? Could you share some things so that our participants can know what state of the art trainings are provided at our Jaipur campus? So that
So okay, if you see our major area of domain area is electronics. Okay, we provide entire solution from the designing of any electronic circuit, okay, to the deployment level, both in terms of the application development as well as the product development. So
yes,
if you take the case of any smartwatch, okay, for your understanding, I'm saying a smartwatch
yes, sir.
contains a pulse oximeter, heart rate sensor, okay, and it's acts inertial sensor to measure the number of steps. So we can train you based upon all these aspects. Okay, how to integrate all these sensors on a single PCB. After that, how to program it. Okay, we give the training on the entire aspect. Then how to manufacture it in the bulk level. So you cannot manufacture a single watch, right? You will have to manufacture a thousands and lakhs of such watches. Okay, how you have to manufacture. So we give you the PCB designing. We will train you for the firmware programming. We will train you on the what are the real-time operating system that go into those things, and we will try to develop on the Android application or iOS application where you can see your smartwatch related information on any tablet or any pad. So this entire training we will provide to the students and the trainers. Okay, PCB designing and development, firmware programming, circuit designing, hardware aspects, how you can develop a RF design of low power, high power. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so these things we try.
Any other questions or some feedback? Sir, nowadays the digital twins are also getting very popular. So, could you make us understand about the digital twins?
So, digital twin, because there is a concept of machine that is already working in the factory. So, once it goes down or once the performance, we need to continuously monitor the performance of the machine that is doing the thing. So, digital twin is having a one more, the concept is one more digital information of the same thing is residing on the cloud, and remotely we can perform the various diagnostic aspects on the digital twin itself in the cloud, and the same will be translated into the real world scenario of the machine in the industry. So you need not bring back the instrument to the to remove from the factory and to the maintenance and other
Yes, sir.
aspects. Okay, we can do the maintenance and other aspects of the information, the diagnostic information. We can take it remotely.
Yes. Means by using utilizing the cloud or
Yeah, everything by deputizing the same thing on the cloud or other aspects.
like in simple words, we may elaborate that like if some old people are there in the uh, home and
Mhm.
their doctor is not able or the patient are not able to frequently go and make checking.
So,
So
so
by
that
using
that may not come directly in the digital twin aspect. It may comes more about the remote
wearable
monitoring.
devices.
Yeah, the information is shared similarly in the same aspect. The information of the patient is shared to the doctor by various mechanisms through cloud or through app or whatever it is. And based
Yes.
upon this information, the remote person will take the necessary action and suggest certain uh, remedies accordingly.
Remedies. Yes. So could you sir please give some general or generic examples so that everybody can get more insight
In a
about
digital twin, if you say, suppose if there is a compressor that is pumping air to the, in automation factory, you see there are n number of nuts and bolts that goes into it, right? If you
yes sir.
see, if you open anything, okay, so if you open any machine in that aspect, it consists of n number of nuts and screws, okay. So it needs to be tightened. It's not is manually tightened. It is all machine tightened. Okay, it is run through a compressor will tight everything. So the compressor should work because the फैक्ट्री में जो प्रोडक्शन होता है वो 24 घंटे होता है, ऐसा नहीं कि 9 से 6 बजे होता है फिर उसके बंद होता है, ऐसा नहीं
Yes sir.
होता। तो उस समय कंप्रेसर पूरा 24 घंटा चलना चाहिए। तो ऐसा नहीं कि मैं दो कंप्रेसर एक खराब होता है दूसरा चालू करा तो वो इकोनॉमिकली वाइबल नहीं। जो कंप्रेसर उसका एयर प्रेशर दे रहा है उस फैक्ट्री को, उसको रिमोटली मैं मॉनिटर कर सकता हूँ क्या कि उसका प्रेशर कैसे डेवलप हो रहा है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम।
Like sir SCADA and like this PLC SCADA earlier we
PLC just controlling on and off of the compressor, but I want to know the performance. What is the pressure that is generating?
yes sir.
वो प्रेशर कितना बना रहा है उसका, कैसे बन रहा है। तो इस तरीके से वो इंफॉर्मेशन क्लाउड में रहेगा। इस कंप्रेसर दे व्हेनेवर अ कंप्रेसर और एनी इंस्ट्रूमेंट और मशीन इज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड, उसके एक डिजिटल ट्विन एआई क्लाउड में रखते हैं। उसके इनपुट्स जैसे जैसे मिलता रहेगा उसका परफॉर्मेंस उसको कंप्यूट करते हैं रियल वर्ल्ड सिनेरियो में, ठीक है। उसकी परफॉर्मेंस
Yes.
जैसे जैसे आएगा बेस्ड अपॉन दैट उसको प्रेडिक्टिव मेंटेनेंस के लिए सजेशन मिलेंगे कि भाई इसको प्रेडिक्टिव मेंटेनेंस के लिए अभी जाओ। प्रेडिक्टिव मींस मेक श्योर दैट इट विल नॉट गो डाउन। तो उस तरीके से प्रेडिक्टिव मेंटेनेंस एस्पेक्ट्स इस तरीके से करते हैं।
Yes sir. So any other question? Any other thing anybody wants to know? Sir is explaining in very practical manner, like how things get implemented in practical situations.
We are in Malvinagar. It's in our office is in Malvinagar. You can visit us any point of time. Okay. There
Yes
is
sir.
no restriction of whenever we are available, we will certainly try to meet you. There is no restriction of visit our lab. You can visit anytime who are interested.
Yes sir. Okay, so sir has shared the PPT with me, so I would soon share the PPT with all the participants so that they may get further understanding. Sir, could we share also your email ID or contact number with the participants? So if
Yeah, no issues. No issues.
okay, sir. So I would share the same also. Thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you.
this
Pleasure is
wonderful.
mine, Ashish. You are such a wonderful host. You will keep on following up with reminders and every other thing. Okay, I am once again say thank you to you.
Thank you for your kind response, sir, every time, even in spite of your busy schedule, your projects.
Okay.
So thank you for accepting the
Thank you,
invitation.
Ashish. Thank you very much. And all the participants who patiently listening to us from the last 1.5 hour.
It was a very wonderful session. Means very practically, you give very like Akbar Bibal's simple practical examples. So it had in understanding of participants. So may I request every one of us to turn on their cameras so that we may have one group photograph. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again, sir, for accepting the
Thank you.
invitation.
Thank
On
you.
behalf of the Department of Applied Sciences, Poornima Institute of Engineering and Technology, Jaipur, I would like to convey thank for this wonderful session, wonderful explanation, and various examples. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. I am logging out now. If you
Yes,
permit.
sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much,
much.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Participants are requested to keep logging, and we'll start the next session at 7:30. So you can keep in the meeting or you can
So
join
still
back at
logging.
7:30. Still login, yes.
We would
Okay,
have
ma'am.
next session.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Ashish, sir, Shashank sir has joined.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. He
he
has
has.
joined.
Okay. So
Welcome, Shashank, sir.
we welcome Shashank sir and good evening. Kindly unmute his mic, I hope.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Actually, it is unmuted, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, Shashank sir. And Charul is also there. So good evening, all the participants, and we welcome our session expert. And I would like to request Charul Bapna, Assistant Professor in the Department of Applied Sciences, to invite and welcome our session expert for the coming session. Charul Bapna, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Krati ma'am. Thank you, Ashish sir, for providing me this opportunity to welcome Dr. Shashank Vyas for this particular session. Okay, I would like to warmly welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Shashank Vyas. Basically, he is a senior consultant and one of the founding member of the energy transition practice at Infosys Energy and Utilities. He looks after the grid services 360-degree partnership with GE Digital and is contributing towards future state architecture of the Australia power grid for AEMO. Having worked with the stalwarts of the power sector in India, he executed multiple research and consultancy projects at TERI, New Delhi, rooftop solar and EV penetration studies for distribution utilities, P2P trading on blockchain, and battery storage pilot implementation under Indo US funding are few of the examples. Prior to Infosys, he was with SoftBank Energy as manager innovation, energy storage, and was working on EMS system for battery storage. Today, he will be sharing his insights on. I'm sorry. Today, he will be sharing his insights on getting solutions of complex real-time problems with multi-layer perceptron. So, on behalf of everyone, I welcome Dr. Shashank Vyas and I just request him to just start his session and please give us more insights on this specific topic. Welcome, sir.
Thank you
Thank,
so much,
thank you,
Professor
ma'am.
Charul. Thank you so much, Professor Krati, Dr. Ashish Ladha, sir.
Thank you, sir.
He's a yeah. I would just like to thank all of you for inviting me, and it is
Welcome, sir.
such yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish. It is such a pleasure and a big honor for me. Uh, though I might look out of place because of my background in energy, but I congratulate Dr. Krati and Dr. Ashish for hosting this very useful faculty development program. And I'm very thankful to all the faculty members who have joined 7:30 p.m. IST, which is quite late by normal standards. So my intention today is to just not go much into technical details because I believe MLP as a topic has been covered by our distinguished experts here. We will do some actual hands-on for which I will provide you some link, and I would like all of you to join me in that practice. I believe most of the faculty members are from. I'm sorry, I'm taking few minutes to start because it is important to set the context. Uh, but important point here is I think most of the faculty members, and please answer in yes or no so that I get a feedback. Most of the faculty members might be from uh, departments related to linguistics. Is it right? And few might be engineers as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So
Many of the faculty members are from Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, or
this is
language or English and soft skills like this.
this is so great. I'm very honored to be with people from the humanities. I value the humanities stream very much, and I've had good friends in the humanities departments while I was at NIT. Jaipur and I see Dr. Prince Davar, who is also very well known to me. Hi, Dr. Prince. Good to see you. Though I haven't seen you on the video.
Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Hi, sir. Hi.
I hope you remember. Yeah, so today's session, I wanted to ensure that everybody is in line with the topic and they get some data related hands-on feel, because I'm from a field which is entirely different. So I would have taken a topic of my comfort, be it solar energy, electrical infrastructure related to charging of EVs. But no, I'm not going to take any of these today. So this was a bit interesting for me to trying to continue with the theme of the discussions of the FDP. So one of the biggest complex real world problems, which is basically the theme of this session today, is preservation of dialects itself. So I'm not a linguistics expert, but again I have tried to sort of move away from the domain and come towards a conclusion as to how MLP as a tool can be used to preserve dialects and how it relates to sustainable development of communities. Because ultimately, I am also working towards sustainable development of communities, even though it is from the field of clean energy. Language, linguistics, communication is very important medium for the community to grow. So how techniques like machine learning and their sub techniques like MLP can be used to uplift the dialects, I think is a very innovative theme that the organizers have chosen for this FDP. So let me share my screen. I do not have much slides because I have told you we'll do actual hands-on, and I will request you to download some data sets on the go so that you are not simply exposed to just theory, but you understand how data feels like, how data looks like. Doesn't matter if you're from humanities, who stops you from playing with numbers. So download the data set, understand how it works. Then we will train a multi-layer perceptron live in this session, and you will see on your screens as you do it yourself as time permits. And that is the real world problem that we are going to discuss today, so that you get a feel of how to work like a data scientist, even though we all may not aim to become one. Even I am not one, though during my PhD I use a lot of data science tools. So let me go ahead and share the presentation through my screen. Okay, so entire screen. There you go. I hope you can see the screen now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Ashish. So I am from energy transition, which is a latest practice unit at Infosys Limited. I work out of Bangalore and I work out of Jaipur also sometimes when I come here, because it is the community that brings me back and for whose sustainable development we all are working for. And language is one of the important components that uh, has an essential role to play in sustainable development. So some hands-on tools for MLP applied to languages is the theme, but I'm from a department which is completely into something different. Doesn't matter, because we all have common links to move towards a common goal. Now, you must have sort of come across this difference, but the biggest difference between a language and a dialect is the fact that language has a standard grammar and some rules, right? Dialects may not have standard rules sometimes, uh, and yes, there are families from which dialects sort of branch into further sub dialects. but they are mutually often intelligible, meaning that you can sort of create common threads between two different dialects, though they might not look very similar to the parent language. So now it is important to give an Indian context to this language versus dialect comparison. So, and why it is important, and I've left this space blank intentionally for you to come up with an answer. But a language, as far as an Indian context is concerned, and globally though as well, is a broader system of communication which has an established grammar and vocabulary. That's a standard definition. But dialect is very specific to the region. Now, language is formally recognized in the Constitution of India, and you know the same about dialect. The corresponding row is kept blank for you to understand, as it implies that it is not formally recognized, and hence they are more in number than the recorded 22 numbers of languages in the Constitution of India. Now, language will have standardized pronunciation, the way we speak, and phonetics as well. Dialect is a dialect because of its unique regionness, and hence the pronunciation is unique to the region. Of course, you have written literature in language, while a dialect is mostly spoken and it is not properly documented. So, this particular row of comparison between the two is of particular interest to us because machine learning applications and their use cases will stem out of this fact that a dialect does not have recorded literature or text. So the data set is definitely not going to be text based all the time. It is going to be sound. And that database can be used to train models, and then that can be used to nurture future generation of communities. Why? Because dialects are soon going to be lost if there is no practice of writing literature or at least recording them in text. For example, now if I just skip to the example called Braj for a dialect, very well this dialect is going to remain because most of the literary works are there in Braj, Boli as they call it in India, or in northern part of the country. You have a lot of rich religious texts also in Braj, mostly Hindu religious texts, as you would have seen. But then these are fast going to deplete if we do not preserve them in the written manuscript, which is not the case for Hindi, which has its own grammar and literature. So, what is then the importance of dialects? Dialects are very important in community development because of the fact that dialects more often reflect the culture and tradition of the local folklore. Correct? Because in fact they are much before the language formally came, because they are part of the region much before a formal language came. Therefore, traditional knowledge is most well documented, well preserved, I would say, well preserved in local dialects, and that has been mostly a oral tradition. Therefore, traditional knowledge and know-how that relates to agriculture, medicine, even water and energy conservation, they all are contained in dialects. And because of lack of literature or lack of written text or manuscript, dialects need to be recorded and preserved. So that is the major theme of this whole program, I believe. And if somebody has a point, please feel free to pitch in.
So there is one uh, thought from Jayashree ma'am, but in India, mostly medieval literature in dialects, not in modern Indian languages like Urdu or Hindi.
Correct. Yeah, that is what I said. Before the formal language came, the dialects were there, and yes, a few of very important medieval literature is well recorded in dialects, but that is not for all the dialects or majority of the dialects. That's true. That's what I said in the last slide as well. Braj has its own literature recorded, uh, even though in the form of religious text or other manuscripts. But this Sorry, somebody was saying something.
I think, sir, unknowingly.
Yeah, so thanks for that point, Dr. Ashish. That is very valid, and I'm glad somebody pointed that one. But yeah, the greater objective here is to preserve dialects and to have them uplifted so that more people continue speaking and writing in them. Therefore, dialects are essential for overall community development, and you know the reason why. So, dialects provide the medium of communication for sustainable development practices also, because many communities, for example, let's talk about the Bishnoi community in Western Rajasthan. They have their own unique methods of preserving the wildlife, and the environment is sacred to the Bishnoi community in their Bishnoi religion. So definitely they have their own dialects. I'm pretty sure that because I've not been to the region personally, but they might not be using one of the formally recognized constitutional languages for their own internal communication. So they might be using a dialect, which I believe would be a version of the Marwari spoken dialect. So they, in that medium of instruction or medium of communication, would be preserving the local know-how for uh, sustainable agriculture, sustainable forest management, and hence more of this dialect needs to be spoken among the community members so that when the community grows, the future generation do not forget the dialect. And that is why the conservation and preservation of dialects is important. So, how can artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computational techniques help in preserving dialects for the ultimate objective of community development? So, as you would have observed, and which is the fact that there are a lot of speakers whose number is reducing in these communities, but in particular dialect spoken regions. So, due to these dwindling speakers and loss of oral tradition, many dialects in India are on the verge of extinction. And because these are not preserved in written text most of the time, their pronunciation, their sound, and phonetics are important. And due to lack of literature, dialects can be best recognized by speech or sound. Otherwise, we would have used script. Script now is definitely almost same to the language. So script is the base on which a language or dialect is constructed, but the sound and pronunciation is always unique to the dialect. So oral speech is a form of unlabeled data. Unlabeled means oral speech is in itself a data set whose data points do not have labels, means you cannot easily classify them. So this type of unlabeled data can also be used to train AI models to recognize dialects. If dialects are organized as data points in the form of speech, so AI models can be used to train on that data. Now we can also label that data. We'll see in the hands-on session how we can label the data, but if it is unlabeled, then also AI has the power to train a model. So neural networks, deep neural networks, I'm sure for the past 4 days you have heard much about these convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks. These are all form of multi-layer perceptrons only. What a multi-layer perceptron is, I'm not going to discuss at all because distinguished speakers have already spoken a lot about that. Today we are going to see how one gets trained in real time, and I will speak from my microphone and I will record some speech, and then we can see how it basically recognizes the dialect. So these different types of neural networks, which are nothing but extension of a multi-layer perceptron, can also process speech, and they can also process written text or alphabet to recognize dialects. But as I said, dialects are best recognized through their speech because you do not have a standardized grammar or vocabulary or rules of writing in most of the cases, not for everyone. So that is why speech is one of the most preferred formats for using dialects for machine learning related applications if we are using dialects as a source of data. Now, how MLP can help in dialect preservation? So, a multi-layer perceptron can be used to identify dialects by training a neural network model, which itself is an MLP, and that can be trained on a data set of speech samples which are labeled with their respective dialects. For example, if I say something in a particular dialect and that becomes a data point, against that data point, if I mention the dialect's name, for example, Braj or Avadhi, so that is label for that data point. We'll see a live demo of this point number 1. Now, each sample can be represented by extracted acoustic features, which are known as Mel frequency cepstral coefficients. This is a technical term. The point is, speech sample also is never used fully. Features are extracted from the speech sample. I hope you understand by now what is a feature. A feature is a particular characteristic of a data point which is used to train a model. In terms of a tabular arrangement of data, feature is like a column and row is like a sample of the data. MFCC is just one example of a feature which basically extracts acoustic data and becomes a training data set, a training data point. Now, this extraction of features will definitely allow the network to learn the subtle patterns that differentiate different dialects and classify new speech samples accordingly. You will see how you say the same sentence in Braj, in Avdhi, in Gujarati, which is a language, but in Marwari, which is not a language. The same sentence is spoken with very subtle difference. They are not very predominantly observed, but they are there if you hear them properly. So this type of differentiation is extracted as a feature which is known as MFCC. MFCC is just one example, but mostly for acoustic related data sets, this is used. Now, what are the key steps involved? So this slide is basically telling us how an MLP can be used to train data set for understanding dialects. In fact, recognizing dialects, different dialects, classifying them basically. That is known as classification. This is going to be a classical machine learning application which is known as classification. Classification is a process, or classification is a particular use case where data points are used to train a machine learning model to classify the data into various classes. There can be 2 classes, there can be more than 2, but there is never a single class mostly. So that is classification. There's another form of prediction in machine learning which is known as regression, where you do not predict a class but you predict the next value of a continuous flow of data stream which you have used for training the model. Now, as you would have seen for the past 4 days in continuity, there are steps of pre-processing, designing the model, training and evaluation. So same thing happens here. But in the case of dialects, the data set, again, as I said, is mostly going to be used is recorded speech. So you collect audio recordings from various regions of India, for example, so that you get a dialect variety. And this will ensure a balanced data set across dialects. Then what you do is, after you record the speech samples, you basically create a data set. Now, once a data set is created, you have to extract the features, because remember, raw data is never used for training a machine learning model or for training an MLP model. So you have to extract the important features. So what are these? These are relevant acoustic features from the speech samples, and this is usually done using an MFCC. This is a mathematical technique. We are not going to talk about this because this is not a mathematics class, else we'll deviate from the topic. But the important thing is acoustic, the way sound is produced. That feature, which is very unique to each dialect, is extracted through this method, because this will capture the spectral information of the audio signal. Now, let me give an example of this. आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? Now, I hope everyone is from the northern part of the country, where people are from Hindi speaking belt. If not, kindly let me know. I can speak in a Dravidian language also.
No, sir, from Kerala or some south part also some
Okay.
visual here.
Okay, let me give two examples. I'll take Hindi as a base language, and then I will take Marwari as a dialect because that is my native. Then let me take Tamil as a base language, and now I'll tell you Tamil spoken in Chennai and Tamil spoken in Kanyakumari or Coimbatore are different. They are dialects. The way they sound is going to be different. And a third example may be of Telugu. So Telugu spoken in Andhra Pradesh is bit more respectful. I mean, please correct me if somebody is a Telugu native person here. Than the Telugu spoken in Telangana, which is bit rough, especially in the city of Hyderabad. Because you have a lot of influence of Nizami language there, which makes it bit more Hindi sounding. So, for example, आप कहाँ जा रहे हैं? This when I speak in Hindi, it's pretty clear that the sound itself is straightforward. आप कटे जा रही हो. When I say this in Marwari dialect, you see the audio signal changes. So overall, the words, few of the words are same, but the way they are spoken are different. So that is an example of MFCC utilization to extract this acoustic feature. Now then we normalize this extracted feature to ensure that there is a consistent data distribution. Otherwise, your model will be biased. Biased meaning your model will always try to predict towards one particular class or one particular dialect, which should not be the case. Once the data is recorded, features are extracted, and the data sets are normalized, we have to label the data, meaning we have to assign speech sample with the corresponding dialect label. So, for example, Solangela in Tamil, which means speak, and Solla, Sulanga. So, the way they're sounding different, the word is the same, but colloquial Tamil and Tamil in some other parts or in bigger cities like Chennai sounds different. So these sound samples have to be recorded by the native speakers of each dialect, and then we have to use these as labels for the extracted features. And then using these, the next step is to design the model. For example, if your model is a multi-layer perceptron, definitely meaning it is having more than one hidden layer. So the input layer will receive the extract feature from the speech sample. That is the input layer. Input layer may have multiple columns of data table, which actually represents the neurons as the layer. And each neuron, for example, can be the feature itself. And then not always true, but mostly one-to-one correspondence if we try to give an example of. But hidden layers will be multiple definitely, because there will be multiple neurons within multiple layers which will learn complex patterns from the input features. And how they learn these patterns, you can create an activation function for each layer. Now what an activation function is, you might have known by now, and then you would have seen that the learning rates can also be adjusted in a multi-layer perceptron. So this learning rate adjustment you have to do while you tune the model in real time to understand the basic very fine differences between the sounds in each dialect. And then there is an output layer which basically will produce a probability distribution over the different dialects. And as you know, each machine learning model is not an exact science, it is a estimate. It is an estimation that to probabilistic, so it will indicate the predicted dialect for a speech sample. It may be 100% accurate for one particular dialect, it may not be. So that is why you have multiple parameters to see what is the accuracy correctness. And then you, as I already said in the previous slide, it comes here, that is a training process where you have the loss function, you have the optimization algorithm. So loss function will basically measure what is the discrepancy between the predicted label and the true label. Meaning, if my model has predicted aap kaha ja rahe hai as a sample of Marwari, then it is wrong. So what is the degree of difference? This goes back as a back propagation step through an algorithm, which is the next point, that can be mostly, let's say, a gradient descent algorithm, which will update the network weights during training, meaning it will make the neurons more sensitive to certain parts of the speech. And then it will work together, all the layers will work together to aim to minimize the loss function, meaning mathematically, if the loss function value has to be lowest, then what has to be the value of this weight so that the lowest loss occurs. Lowest loss means highest gain, meaning we are very near to the true label of the dialect. And then every time when you train a model, you have to test it. So there is a test set. So for example, when I've trained in one of the data sets like aap kaha ja rahe hain, to be as a Hindi labeled data set, and when I speak, let's say aap kaha se aaye hain, so the speech sample should be such an input that the model recognizes it as Hindi. If it recognizes it as Marwari, then the model is wrong. So the way I have spoken, the way audio sample has been extracted into a feature is a part of the feature extraction and training process. Then you have to give a test set, meaning to evaluate the performance of the model on a test set which is different from the previously known data sample. Then that step is the testing step. And then you have various metrics to evaluate the performance. For example, accuracy, precision, recall, F score. These are all technical terms, but how many number of hits you have made, how many number of correct predictions, how many number of incorrect predictions. So this is arranged in a form of a true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative, that kind of concept in a classification problem. So this is how mathematics comes to the rescue of linguistics in this case. Does anybody have any point here?
Yes, sir. Actually, Dr. Shikha Agrawal wants to know full form of MFCC.
Okay, so the full form of MFCC is Mel frequency substral coefficients. This is a particular mathematical technique. There is a mathematical technique from which acoustic features are extracted, and these coefficients are actually values. They are numeric values which are extracted from sound recordings, because each sound recording is basically mathematically, numerically a frequency. So a lot of information is hidden in speech, right? So those information are extracted as a coefficient, and this is used in training a model. You will see now live. And any other point also I can hear?
Yes, sir. Afzal wants to say even Hindi as a language is an offspring of a Rajasthani dialect. Is that true?
I think yes. I think yes. I am not a linguistics expert, but because I have some interest in linguistics, I believe Rajasthani, in fact, has given birth to Gujarati. That you have to tell me, sir, if you are from the humanities. We can discuss this out. Hindi is an offspring of Rajasthani. Why not? Definitely can be. Some of the words in Rajasthani language are so rich that the Hindi Shabdkosh does not have them. But this will remain debatable to me. I am not a scholar of linguistics, but I have often read and I feel that Rajasthani is more rustic, more earthly. It might have been older than Hindi. Definitely Hindi as a language is much new because it evolved from a lot of other dialects. That is true. There is no doubt in that.
Then, sir,
And in the chat box.
Jayashree ma'am wants to discuss. Could you explain how a computer software learner had to interface his both classified knowledge regarding datasets and language signs, sounds, meaning, etc.?
Can you explain the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Could you explain how a computer software learner had to interface his both classified knowledge regarding datasets and language science, sounds, meaning, etc.
By collaborating with people like Dr. Ashish, who are from the mathematical domain or other experts, you bring in your knowledge of language and linguistics, and you will help in providing label data. So labeling, that you can help, and experts like Dr. Ashish will use the knowledge of AI and machine learning models to train the models for you. Then when you test the model, you are the best judge, because human expertise is so far greater than the machine intelligence, though nowadays it is uh, opposite as well. So then you can identify if the model is performing well. And to answer to your question, maybe, I don't know, few slides later, if you all open a web page that I will show in the chat box, then maybe you might be able to get a very small percentage of your answer there. So why don't you speak? Is she not allowed to speak?
Now, ma'am can speak. Jayashree ma'am,
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm very much happy to speak to you, but point is that while writing, I'm more accurately putting down my thoughts in whatever my question
Uh,
is. Sometimes in speaking, we can, skip something. So that's why I wrote down the question for all also to listen and
yeah,
notify it later in recordings also clearly.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's very much useful as we are from humanities, because suppose if we are teaching also the language classes in like Bachelor of Computer Science
Okay.
or other. Now,
Uh,
there generally now question arises that how language people can coordinate with the computer knowledge.
hmm,
Of course, there are some other previously modules available for learning pronunciation,
hmm,
grammar, or IELTS exam or TOEFL
hmm,
exam. So that was a different kind of stream, or you may say, to go into the communications of language. But
hmm,
nowadays, absolutely, coding is
hmm,
important. Coding is important to
hmm.
decode quickly in within seconds the language plus computer knowledge. So
Yeah.
there we need your assistance or your classes or Ashish
Okay.
sir.
So yeah, yeah. Ashish sir is best suited person here from the academics, and I can also try to help you. Always happy to help. So by language, did you mean programming language or
Yeah,
language of communication? Yeah.
programming language, because earlier the computer knowledge was different in certain, like there were other sorts of computer languages earlier, there were like those
Hmm,
who migrated to overseas, like they were all consultants, programmers in making softwares. Now we
hmm,
have already got softwares, but they
hmm,
are means embedded in AI. Now,
hmm,
that AI is actually a problematic issue,
hmm,
or you may say a new strand
hmm,
in digital humanities.
hmm, hmm,
That what we now, kind of orientation we need. And of course, you are giving very smartly and interfacing both the things.
hmm,
And
hmm,
even yesterday also there was one sir, he was mathematically giving graphs, but actually he was also trying to elaborate upon some kind of, quickly how the translation models work in AI.
hmm.
It's wonderful. We thank you all.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for this point. So nowadays, do not bother about coding. The world is moving towards a low code, no code (LCNC) mode, meaning do not fear coding. Uh, be associated with your domain. The computer will code for you. That is AI. You do not have to tell the computer what to do by writing in a low level language, meaning a language that human does not understand, only a computer will understand. Now the reverse is happening. You tell what you want and the computer will code for you and will give you the output. That is what happens in this particular language model, right? That is the natural language processing. So you have come at the right slide. Uh, so the point here is what do you strive to become. What your students want to wish to become is more important. If you want to further grow in linguistics field, but you are teaching a computer science class, and teach them about linguistics, the technicalities of language. Code the computer will do for them. That's what ChatGPT and all are doing. They are all generative prescriptive transformers, which is a language processing model. So you tell them what to do. You write a prompt in your own language that you understand, and the computer will come back. It will generate a piece of code. It can also generate a sound. It can generate a video. That is generative AI. So we have moved a lot further. So that is why in this session, the hands-on is not going to be about coding at all, because we have moved so much further that you do not have to worry about coding. You just have to worry about what you want to do, what task you want to achieve from the computer model. The computer itself codes for you. You have to just see if the task is being achieved or not. And that is possible through NLPs and language models. Why? Because the natural language processing will use text characters and speech samples to train models, and in this case, recognize dialects. The language models are basically small and large, and they are the latest group of tools which are based on deep neural networks only, because they are trained with billions and millions of parameters. That scale defines whether it is a large or small, but the number of parameters is huge. And one of the parameters may be MFCC, but there are multiple other parameters, because MFCC is only limited to speech and sound, but you may have text also. So these learning models can be used to preserve dialects through trained models, and can be used to generate text and speech, as I was saying. Basically, what you do, let's say you take Nicobarese. Nicobarese is spoken in the Nicobar Islands, which is very much part of Union of India. Now there are a handful of people who are surviving on Earth which know Nicobarese, and this is not documented. There is no manuscript for Nicobarese. So you have to find people who speak this language. You have to record it, record the samples, but then you have to also train a computer model to remember what is Nicobarese, so that when you have this trained model in the future, you can generate text using a computer. The computer will generate more text, more speech, so that future generation of that community will get to know this language when the elders pass away. So that is the power of language models. And now for NLPs and language models, I wish to notify that our government is also taking a lot of proactive steps to utilize AI for preservation and upliftment of various dialects which are spoken in the country. And one of the initiatives which you all must Google today is Bharat Jan, which was launched few months back. Now, this is a multi-consortium project. I think you must be aware of this. Yeah, so just focus on the linguistic parts, all of you from the humanities department, and the remaining ones who are from electrical or computer engineering, you focus on the machine learning part. Only then you can get the best of both, I would say, domains. So this is a multi-consortium project. There are, I think, 5 or 6 IITs, IIT Madras, Bombay. There is IIM Indore. They are involved in this project, and they are developing a multimodal large language model which is capable of generating text and content in various Indian languages, which is a big thing, because the more you generate text and speech and multimedia, the more you can propagate the dialects among the generation who are soon forgetting Indian dialects. And you can have pronouns also, proverbs, sorry, not pronouns. Proverbs meaning, you know, as they say in Hindi, kahavat or muhavre. in the dialects which are being forgotten by people. So a computer model can learn that dialect, and with your instructions it can generate a piece of proverb, so that the future generations in each community are aware of that local knowledge which is very local to that region, is only well preserved in a dialect. No language can basically take over it, and there are multiple examples of it. And as I also told you, even Tamil spoken in Chennai is different from Tamil spoken in a tier 2 city in the state. There are multiple local versions of one particular language. For example, Marathi in Konkan coast and Marathi in central Maharashtra. Mumbai Marathi is different. So it's all local flavor that keeps on adding. So that is why initiatives like this using large language models will effectively capture the nuances of diverse dialects. Then Bhashini, which is a group of applications, was launched in 2022. This was a part of the National Language Translation Mission. This mission is being carried by the Ministry of Electronics and IT. And it is an ecosystem of applications. It is not a single application, but an ecosystem of applications where various AI based applications are being used for text to speech, speech to text, translation, documentation. In fact, you will be surprised to know that as part of the next point, one of the apps is being used by the Supreme Court of Bangladesh for writing judgments in their native Bangla, spoken in few parts of Bangladesh. So that is the power of dialect, that you, even your court judgments are sometimes passed in dialects in few regions of the world. So another initiative in this regard is the AI for Bharat, which is a initiative, basically a group of researchers in a laboratory at IIT Madras. They have developed several large language models, several translator models and data sets which are capturing various Indian dialects. So now we will move on to the hands-on session, but before that we can discuss few points.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Dr. Prince Davar wants to ask, sir, can you suggest some softwares or apps which can help in projects related to dialects?
Patience is a big virtue, sir. I was coming to the same point, and that's why human intelligence is much better because the way you can guess what I was about to tell is only a human angle to it. Why not a software? I'm going to tell you the tool itself right away. Now, before that, I want to take few questions from the participants. If not, Dr. Prince already has posed a question, which is the
Hello,
point
sir.
of question. Yeah, Dr. Anubhav.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sir, have you heard about the diglossia?
No, I have not.
Okay, sir. Actually, if language has a two variety like Bangla and Tamil. So in Bangla has two variety, Sadhu and Chalit.
Okay.
The Chalit is like a informal and Sadhu is like a formal. So in that case, means which would be the preferable to for the documentation, like both the variation of the language is important, like whether it is formal or informal. So what would you suggest?
No, if you ask me, both are important, both coexist, without which the development of communities is not possible. You have an informal dialect is the very reason of existence of a formal one, actually. And I'm saying all this by my own conviction. I'm not an expert. by the way, in linguistics. But it is such an interesting field that you know by yourself that the way you say a certain thing, you can understand the moko pato na hai, braj.
Okay,
We will
sir.
laugh at it. Why? Because it sounds funny. But
No, no, it means nahi, actually, sir, it is loving to hear na on a such platform like such languages, such
why
bullies.
are we ashamed of? We are a Republic of India, so we are discussing dialects, and we do not
Yes,
speak dialect. Then what is the point of this
yes.
this discussion at all? So whatever you are saying, Ami Janina, whatever you said, Bangla, I only know formal Bangla only I can speak. So,
Okay, sir.
so Chalit and what is the other one?
Sadhu, Chalit and Sadhu.
Sadhu. So, okay. Now, imagine a village where Chalit Bangla is being spoken and all the elders, they would like to communicate in that dialect, right? All the, why not document it? Both of them must be documented. Your, medium of communication, medium of passing knowledge, medium of, proverbs. Children grow up listening to that dialect. So I cannot imagine Hindi being imposed on the whole country. I'm sorry to say that this was not point of the discussion, but even Hindi has multiple dialects. So just to answer your question, if you ask me as a purely outsider, a non-expert, I would say both would be important. If you ask me how to do that, then mathematically I will say that you extract the acoustic features, which is a very niche mathematics involved in it. Of course, we are not going to discuss because this is beyond the scope, and even I am not, having hands-on session on that right now. So your Chalit and your
Sadhu.
Saj, yeah, has to have some difference, right? That basic difference you need to sort of document. But how can you? You can use symbols to denote certain letters. But I believe the script is the same because Bangla script is what? Devanagari, right? So
Hmm.
there is a written form, but when dialects are being discussed, you have to focus on speech, as far as I can understand as an outsider. So why I'm mentioning outsider all the time, because I have to. I'm here for a particular mathematical angle to it, but I'm trying to fit the dialect part of it so that it becomes very involving for all of us, right?
Mhm.
So if you ask me, yes, both are important. Because I'll tell you an example also, if you allow. Then Marwari, the native dialect that I speak, has multiple variations in Western Rajasthan. And Jodhpuri Marwadi is like Hosa Kikar Hosa, right? And Bikaneri Marwadi is like Kokaro. So you see the difference in the way they are spoken. You can identify a person. Now, if I try to become a Marwadi dialect speaker, they will outcast me from the community because I'm caught because of my mother tongue, which is not Bikaneri Marwadi. And I heard somebody say Mewadi. So Mewadi also sounds similar. Kate Jaria ho, Koni. Yeah. So these are very subtle differences. It might sound funny to you. It might sound pretty unexpected at this forum. But then this is the forum, sir, about dialects. We have to, and we will see now when I speak in the microphone, and you also will do the exercise with me now. Then you can basically play around with this tool. You can use your own dialect, be it Santhali, be it somebody from Odisha might speak Santhali, somebody at the Odisha Chhattisgarh border might speak Odia. This country is amazing. So dialects are huge. So your Sadhu Bangla or Chalit Bangla, I think I would say that if there are important differences, you must document it and you must label the data set very intelligently. That is your task as a humanities expert, as a linguistics expert, and then give it to the machine learning engineer who can verify mathematically at his end by reproducing the sound and presenting it to you so that the speech is understood very, very well. Now, let's get back to the hands-on session unless people have few more questions.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mhm.
Are you from West Bengal, by the way? I'm just asking.
No, no, I am from UP, Varanasi.
So you see I mean, the wonder here that you are not from the state, but you can still speak. That is what the beauty of this country and its dialects are. So let
Absolutely,
us
sir.
try to,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, okay. Now I was talking about the hands-on session. Before that, maybe I don't know if I have pasted this link, but please open this link. You may download or you may not download it, but it is for your future references. Now, how do I paste this link? This is Google. Okay. Now, let me know if you can see this and
Yes,
open
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Raghavendraji, I have pasted the Kaggle link. Now, just open it for your all, session. You can at least see the screen, right? This is what comes. Correct? Can you confirm? Are you all able to see the Indian languages audio data set? Yes, thank you, Dr. Prince and Dr. Jayashree for confirming. Now, you will not be able to download it unless you have a Kaggle account. See, before that, let us read about the dataset. So this is a collection of audio samples featuring a diverse set of 10 Indian languages, and this is precisely 5 seconds in duration, and it is provided in an MP3 format. Okay. The source is regional videos freely available on YouTube. Okay, that is interesting. And none of the audio samples are owned by the creator. That's fine. Now these languages have been included. These are not dialects, by the way, but this is language. Let's just start off with something to do. I'm just trying to expose you to the data part of it. The content you can basically understand at your own end. I would request you to read this whenever you see it the next time. Now you see this is how data looks like. These are 10 languages, 1000 files. These are 5 seconds MP3. This is how it looks like when I downloaded it today. So let me play, let's say Gujarati, which is very close to my own dialect as a language. And let me know if you can hear it. I'm not sure if you will be able to hear it.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Yeah. Now you see the sound, it is entirely different. Then the sound which I will play in Hindi, which is not a dialect, of course. This is just the data set. This is not the machine learning.
ये देखो कि पेशेवर तथा व्यक्तिगत दोनों रूपों में अंतिम
You see the way it is being spoken. Now, remember we are going to use a multi-layer perceptron. What I have shown you is just one file. There are 1,000 such files. Each file is a 5-second long audio clip. Imagine the content of information, the volume of information which is encoded in this. Somebody wants to join the call. Okay, so let us try one more. Let's see how it sounds like.
में लिख दिया उसे कौन मिटा सकता है आचार्य
This is not Marathi, definitely. So there is an error in this data set. This point will be a big cause for your model to misperform. Okay, so as a humanities expert, you can correct this file number 9944 as an incorrectly labeled data set. This is labeled as Marathi. It is given a class Marathi, but it is not a Marathi data set. It is a Hindi data set, right? Let's try one more file number. These are random files that I'm opening. This is how the data set looks like. Now you have to download.
शेवटचा प्रश्न विचारेगा हॉटेल व्यवसायातील तुमच्या
This is definitely Marathi. and I think this is a Marathi spoken in the Pune region, which is the purest form of dialect. Before not a dialect, this is a language in itself. Now, so this is how a data set will look like. It will look like a simple folder only in a Windows based system. You may have a Linux system also. This is the computational part of it. Now, let me open another link. Maybe you can also open it side by side. And you all must have microphones in your systems to do this exercise. You will use this for a hands-on session and confirm back if you are able to open this. This opens this link. So basically this is an online tool called Teachable Machine. Okay, thanks Dr. Prince. So this is one of the very basic tools where you can use the power of a multi-layer perceptron to recognize different dialects. So we will open this, whatever link I have given to you. If you go one page before, you will get this image project, audio project, and again image project. So we have to click on audio project. Now you see this, and this is basically, I don't know how to hide this. Yeah, okay. Are you able to, yeah, you see this side screen also on the right. I need to remove this from site. Maybe I'll just, so now can you see this pattern? Kindly confirm. I hear a sound. What is that? Yes, okay. So a multi-layer perceptron has to have multiple layers. So what you see at the left is the input layer. This is the layer which we will build right now by creating different sound, speech, text, training data set, not text or test, but training data set. So this is a free open online tool just for you to practice and understand how multi-layer perceptrons are built and how they can be used to recognize dialects. The first layer is the hidden layer, is the input layer. Of course, the hidden layer is the one in between, which you can also see from the preview function. First thing is the background noise. An audio model requires at least 20 seconds of background noise. You cannot delete or disable this class. So you see, you cannot delete it, while you can delete this class. Now I will rename this class here by click on the pencil button. I'll say Hindi. This is one class. Now, of course, you cannot have one single class. You have to have another class to basically recognize. So I create one more class, and I will name it as, let's say, Braj only. Please forgive me for my bad Braj, but I will try. Having stayed in Uttar Pradesh for a long time, so I can try to speak, not very fluently. Now, because background noise is a very essential feature, we have to click on mic. It says record 20 seconds. I can change the setting and I can make it as 10 seconds. So it's not too long. Save the setting and hit record. You see, it is recording. It is 10, 9, 8, 7, like that. Now, because this is background noise and I have spoken, I have to delete it. I will, so if I would have not spoken, I would have extracted. Click on extract. So now what I'll do, I'll simply not extract it. I'll say record again, and I will not speak now. Let the background noise come. I click on extract. You see, it has taken 10. It needs 20. Okay, I'll record another. Now what do you understand? 10 seconds of sample and it has created 10 audio samples of 1 second each. This is empty background noise. You don't hear any speech, right? This is basically for 10 seconds. I have kept on my microphone. It has recorded the background noise and it has created 10 samples of this 10 seconds recording, meaning each is 1 second long. So it has split the whole recording into multiple recordings. These are features. This is MFCC type of feature. It has created on its own. Now let me record for one more time. Extract. So all the 20, now it needs minimum 20 samples for background. So it has recorded those, right? This is one input for the multi-layer perceptron. This is plain background noise. Nobody speaking. So it is just to differentiate speech from no speech. Now Hindi. I can click on upload. Okay, because I have already recorded some files. I will go to choose audio files and I will go to the folder which is having Hindi and I will pick up a file. And each file is 5 seconds audio as written in the Kaggle dataset. Now let me pick up a file. I'll go to all files and I pick up a file, but there's an error. You can only upload zip files with audio previously. Okay. Problem with this tool is you cannot use any recorded dataset. So Kaggle dataset was of no use in this exercise, but that's okay. I hope you can still hear me and see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now it cannot use a recorded data set. So I have to record it live. So I'll speak something. I'll click on mic and then I will speak in Hindi. Now here also I can record 1 second. I can record for let's say 2 seconds. So that it needs 8 samples. I'm guessing it will do it in 4 such recordings, the 8 samples. Recording is different than sample. Each recording can have multiple samples. Let's start to record. I didn't speak anything. I'll start again. कैसे हैं आप? Extracts the sample, 2 gone. Okay, one more time. वो आ रहा है. 4 samples. मुझे पता नहीं. 6. Okay, one more time. वो जा रहा है. So 8 samples have been recorded. Now go to the next class, which is Braj. I know this is going to be funny here, but let's try some Braj. I'll click on mic. Then I can make it 2 seconds, right? Save the setting. मो को पता ना है. Extracted. वो आरो दिखे. वो जारो दिखे. I'm just random. I'm trying to. It may not be Braj definitely, but it doesn't sound like a Braj sounding person. But I didn't speak. Let me try again. वा को पता है को. Okay. Now this is input layer. 20 samples of background noise, 8 samples of Hindi, and 8 samples of Braj. Now I'm going to hit on train. Now you see the model is getting trained. Now I will tell one of you to speak, because when I speak, this voice is known. You see this? I'll just off the microphone. What did you understand? This is the input layer, which has the classes and data is stored. This is the training. This is the hidden layer. Now here you can control the epochs. You know what epochs is? One epoch means each and every sample is fed to the training model at least once. That is what you have been taught so far. You can have a default reset. You can have more, accuracy and loss per epoch like this. These are the mathematical parts. So this is how the training hidden layer is coming here. Now what it does is, if you now you have to test this model. So you have to, I've clicked on off, but when I on the microphone, this is going to be the test data. Now if you speak in if I speak in Hindi, this will on the live classify.
मम्मा को एक और चंदा चाहिए.
Nobody was speaking. Did you recognize that background noise was getting 100%? Means it is correctly predicting. Are you able to understand this? Okay. Okay, then let me go back to the model. Now have a look at this. I will speak, or maybe I will switch on the microphone, and the model will on live recognize the dialect. कैसो है पता नहीं ब्रज बोल लो. Did you notice? Every time I was speaking, it works very fast. Whenever you change the dialect, it is adjusting in real time to the class. Now, anyone, please speak.
Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
मोको को पता ना कैसे हैं आप. So you see, this is how this tool has worked, and this is kind of a hands-on, which at a very, very, very basic level you can use to understand what happened. Yes, Dr. Krati has raised a hand.
Sir, I have one question. Like this tool can be used, like with Kaggle, you are just, and this is a wonderful thing which you are discussing, because we need this kind of a thing from last 2-3 days. I'm just feeling this vacuum, and we discussed about it when you visited to us in the campus. So that now by using this tool, we can record the dialects, whatever dialects we want to record, and we can save the file, right?
Yeah, you go to export model, this button, and you can download your own model. Now, this is a bit of computer science. You need to take help from your CS professors, that you can sort of export this model, or you can
Sure, I'll do
download.
that.
You can see download my model. It will download it as a JavaScript file .js, or you can upload the file to TensorFlow. Now, TensorFlow is a very popular Python library. Nobody in the field of linguistics does not know about this. Is not possible. Like everybody uses TensorFlow, which is a freely available Python library. So Raghavendra ji knows it. So you can convert this to a TensorFlow code also, but as a JavaScript file. This is very, very basic tool. The good thing is it is free online. Problem is you cannot use a Kaggle dataset. But you see how data looks like, how speech looks like. Just have a look at the sample. You can see when somebody is speaking, the variations in the recorded sample you are able to see. That is the acoustic data which is coming out as an information in the speech signal. And when you speak in the microphone on your own system, it is on the way it is classifying Hindi brush background. Somebody spoke in English, it sounded as Hindi. Why? Just because of the acoustic.
True.
Yeah, can it record the speech in different sets with variation in those sets? Yes. You saw how you can make a 1 second, 2 second, 10 second, 20 second sample. You have to speak. Now that is where the effort goes, and that is what the government is doing. It is going to each and every native dialect speaker, recording the session just the way I was speaking. recording the dialect, the speech, not the session, sorry, which is a time consuming process. This process is called labeling. This is called labeling. When I basically in this tool did the edit button, Hindi and Braj, these are labels. I can create one more class and I can name it Avdhi. This is a label. But since I cannot speak Avdhi, there is no point of training this model. I will delete this class. Delete the class. This is a very basic plug and play type of a tool. No coding was required. No coding at all. The computer did all the coding. What you did is tell the computer what to do. How to do is the computer's task.
So there is one query from Central Institute of Hindi.
And that too from Mysore. Wow.
Yes, sir.
Namaskaram, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now, please, you may speak now.
हाँ, डॉक्टर शशांक व्यास जी को सादर नमस्कार।
सादर प्रणाम।
प्रणाम करता हूं। पहले तो आपको डॉक्टर शशांक व्यास जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस अर्थ में, आज बहुत लंबे समय बाद हमको ब्रजभाषा सुनने को मिली प्यारे मौं से, और वो ब्रजभाषा की मिठास, ब्रजभाषा की गंध ऐसी लगी कि हमें बिल्कुल मथुरा वृंदावन के यमुना किनारे ही बैठ के सुन रहे हैं आपको।
उतनी अच्छी तो नहीं बोली मैंने, कोशिश करी, पर
आपने बिल्कुल 16 आना खरी 100% ब्रजभाषा बोली है, और बहुत लगभग 40 वर्ष बाद आभासी पटल पर हमको ब्रजभाषा सुनने को मिली। तो आपको बहुत पूरे मन से हम धन्यवाद व्यक्त कर रहे हैं।
थैंक यू। ये मैंने गेट अ पॉइंट, ये आपने सही कहा, इस फोरम पे कम ही बोली जाती है, पर क्योंकि ये फोरम ही डायलेक्ट्स के लिए है तो डायलेक्ट बोलना तो आवश्यक था। और मैं नेटिव ब्रज का ब्रज भाषी नहीं हूँ, पर ब्रज की रज की हमने कोशिश करी आज लाने की। तो हमने देखा कैसे एक मल्टी लेयर परसेप्ट्रॉन ने ब्रज को समझा, मैथमेटिकली उसको यूज किया एज ए टेक्स्ट, सॉरी एज ए डेटा पॉइंट, एंड ब्रज बोलते समय जो स्पीच साउंड होता है उसका एक्सट्रैक्शन करके मॉडल को ट्रेन किया। और जैसे जैसे आप ब्रज, अब जैसे आप बोलेंगे ब्रज तो ये पहचानेगा, इट विल से इन दी द लोअर बार दैट यू कैन सी। तो थैंक यू सर फॉर, और सबसे अच्छी बात ये है, मुझे पता नहीं था सेंट्रल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ हिंदी मैसूर में है, विच इज नॉन हिंदी स्पीकिंग स्टेट, विच इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ दिस कंट्री। तो थैंक यू।
अच्छा, एक बात मैं आपसे और शेयर करना चाहूंगा
जी।
मैं ब्रजभाषा में ही बोलूं तो ज्यादा अच्छा लगेगा आपको।
बिल्कुल सर।
भारत में 1000 वर्ष पहले पूरे भारत की भाषा ब्रजभाषा ही। अमीर खुसरो ब्रजभाषा के पहले हिंदी के कवि थे। गोस्वामी तुलसीदास जी ने भी ब्रजभाषा में विशुद्ध रूप से 5 प्रतियां की हैं। विनय पत्रिका, कवितावली, गीतावली, श्री कृष्ण गीतावली, और रामचरितमानस आधा ब्रज में है और आधा अवधि में है।
अवधि में है, हाँ,
मैं क्योंकि गोस्वामी तुलसीदास जी को शोध छात्र हूँ, विद्यार्थी हूँ, तो मोह को ये लगता है कि ब्रजावधि महाकाव्य है रामचरितमानस।
सच्ची बात।
तो आज भारत का ये सौभाग्य कहें कि दुर्भाग्य कहें कि ब्रज भाषा को अलग थलग करने की पूरी योजना से कोशिश हुई, और उसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि मैथिली, भोजपुरी, अवधी, इन बोलियों की तो सरकारी स्तर पर अकादमियां बन गई, और ब्रज भाषा पर कोई साहित्यिक अकादमिक कार्य ही नहीं हुआ। और उसका परिणाम यह हुआ कि ब्रज भाषा शोध पीठ भी किसी विश्वविद्यालय में नहीं बना, और आज ब्रज भाषा केवल और केवल कवि मंचों की भाषा बन के रह गई है, थोड़ी थोड़ी सिसक रही है। आपके आभासी पटल के माध्यम से हम ये कहना चाहेंगे कि आप सुधी अध्येता हैं, भाषा के मनीषी विद्वान हैं। आप थोड़ी सी अपने व्याख्यान में जहाँ जहाँ उपलब्धता हो, अवसर हो, ब्रज भाषा की गहराई को समझते पकड़ते हुए उसके उत्थान और विकास के लिए हम लोग क्या क्या कर सकते हैं, ये हमारी चिंता का विषय है।
जी, ये चिंता एवं चिंतन का विषय अवश्य इस विषय पर हम सभी को कार्यरत रहना चाहिए। और आज इस प्रोग्राम के माध्यम से हमने ब्रज का ही उदाहरण लिया एक कंप्यूटर मशीन लर्निंग मॉडल के लिए, तो ये हमारा भी सौभाग्य था कि हम ब्रज को ही एज ए उदाहरण के तौर पे हम उदाहरण के रूप में प्रयोग कर सके। सभी ब्रज भाषियों का हार्दिक अभिनंदन है और मुझे भी उल्लास प्रतीत हो रहा है कि मैं ब्रज में कुछ बोल सका, हालांकि उतना एग्जैक्ट नहीं था, बट स्टिल, but yeah, I think it's a good session and I thank you for your comments also, and to everyone from Braj, that is good to note. Back to you, Dr. Krati.
Yes, sir. With this note, and we see that too much wonderful sessions, sir, because the way you have, transformed this heavy data into very light dose for all the people from the multidisciplinary background. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. And if there are some queries, we are open for the queries for next 10 minutes. Ashish sir, please see that if there is any hand raised.
No, ma'am.
Prince sir,
Right
you
now,
would
no.
like to say something? Or there is one question. You just read it out if you... Shashank
Yes,
sir, could you see the chat box? If you can see, you
Chat
can
box.
respond to that.
I remember someone telling that people impose Hindi because they can't speak any other language. Well, that's not the case, sir. And I'm just guessing from your name. I'm sorry for that. You must be from Karnataka or Telangana, wherever. It doesn't matter, sir. I mean, that's not a question, rather, it's a comment. So, as I said, it is a very light forum. And I think it's a good point to make in the end that language is something that has to unite us. So, let us not call anyone a South Indian. They are Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam, Tulu, right? So, that is one thing. It's not that I'm biased towards certain part of the country. That's not. There are beautiful dialects in the northeast as well, and many more to explore, which you all know much better. So I think that's the only comment that I have seen. There is no question. Thank you for the comment, sir.
Shashank sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I would just like to say that your session has been tremendously good, and definitely this is the session I have enjoyed a lot. See, although the perceptron and all those terms are quite different and of course unique to me because I am not from this background, but such a use and of course I would say that the practical example that you have given for the understanding of dialects and language has been all good. Thank you so much for your session, and I think we'll be in touch for further session in future too as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Prince. It's the utmost honor and pleasure for me. Thank you,
My
everyone.
pleasure, sir. Pleasure is
Thank
all
you.
mine.
Pleasure, and thank you all for joining. And I'm glad to see that people from all parts of the country are here, which is good. That is meeting your objective. And apologies to anyone who is from the Dravidian part of the country, where I was trying to explain different dialects within Tamil. The word Tamil itself is pronounced as Tamil, so it's Tamizh, Tamizh. So even that is how we write in different forms and how we speak. That is what the beauty of this country is, and I think if this program acts as a medium of national integration also, then there's nothing like it. So I'm very glad that Dr. Krati and Dr. Ashish took this initiative, and I was pretty nervous. What will I do? I am a misfit. But I think we all discussed well. So thank you so much for participating.
Sir, you have done a great job. You are not misfit, but you fits in well, and you fits us also, because we all was doubting and how we'll manage it. But with this session today, we
Yeah.
actually understand that now how we'll go further on this platform, and how we can take help of the CS, and how this Kaggle and other tools can be helpful to us, because we have
Yeah, Kaggle.
the idea, can be helpful to us.
Yeah, Kaggle is just a data set. Okay, there are multiple data set. Kaggle is not the data set. In fact, a website that hosts the data set. There are multiple data sets. I request you and encourage you to see Bharat AI, Bharat 4 AI, Bhashini website. In fact,
Sure,
I
sure.
was learning today much, so it was a good learning experience for me also. When I said misfit, I meant that I am not from the linguistics part, but I am from the other part, which is serving this purpose. So that was good to be a part of this, and I myself learned a lot. This is Bharat 4 AI, numeral 4. Bharat 4
Okay.
AI, something like that. You can explore. You can use this tool. You can see how multi-layer perceptron is built. So.
Yes, yes.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Kanda this side. Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful session, sir.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kantaji.
Sir, actually, I would like to know, we have been working on Hanuman also. So, has it been launched?
Okay.
Hanuman AI, yeah.
I am not aware
Aware about
exactly.
this. Fine. No problem. And also, one request, if you can share some links related to languages, these tools which are helpful in machine translation, or we can get access to the dialects, different dialects, and to learn about them. Like you were talking about Cardil, I couldn't understand that because I missed some of the beginning of the session.
Kaggle is a collection of data sets and AI models. Just Google Kaggle and you
Fine.
will see.
Fine. Same way we can Google this teachable machine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's free of cost.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, then I will take a leave if you allow. I have to catch a train now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir
Okay,
has a
so sir,
train
we
at
have just one
after
group
just some
photograph.
while. So group photograph. Yes, sir.
We'll just take one more minute.
So all the participants kindly turn on your camera so that we may have one group photograph.
Good to see Dr. Prince after a long time.
Just a second. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
सभी को घना घना आभार. Like we are talking about other dialects. So as per our my Haruti reason, so घनो घनो आभार सब घनो चौको session रहो घनो घनो आभार.
મારો એક ઘણો સૌભાગ્ય રહે સર ઘણો ઘણો આભાર અને બોલાવણ વાસ્તે
Wonderful.
પાછો મળેલા કદી જરૂર.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Jal
sir.
milala
Thank you,
sir,
Madam,
jal.
sir. Wonderful.
Jal
Thank
मिला.
you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks,
आवाज देखा
everyone.
होगा. तारातारी देखा होगा.
धन्यवाद आपका आभार.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Participants, please notice that tomorrow we would begin from 2 p.m. onwards. Therefore, technical session 11 from Dr. Deepika Gaur. And the link for the same has also been shared with all of you. So kindly join with the link on at 2. And all are also requested to fill the feedback form with the same email ID which you have registered on the ATAL portal. So it would be easier for your attendance marking as well as for evaluation purpose. So thank you, everyone. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Right, but